Okay, before we get started with our council committee meeting, I'm going to open up a bid opening. This was done and publicized probably about a month ago, and it's a bid opening. And just to let everyone know, the sealed bids were accepted and received prior to 12 p.m. today. And this particular bid will be read by the clerk. And so, if you don't mind, Mr. Clerk, would you proceed in opening the bid?
See, it was hand delivered. We only had one bid, and it was prior to 12 p.m.
None of that's coming through the speakers.
Okay, we just got to talk a little bit.
No, the speakers aren't.
They're not.
Okay, how about now? Can y'all hear it better?
It's just coming through.
Nothing in the back.
All right.
I'm trying to talk as loud as I can.
It's working.
We only got one bid. It was delivered prior to 12 today.
He's got it on open mode.
The only bid was from Supreme Rice Mill.
Sir? Yes, that's the old, there's part of the road, there's the old Cajun bag, that's what everybody calls it, which is on Avenue C, yes, sir, that is correct. By the bulk plant, across from it, yes.
Yes, the bid was for $54,000. I mean, as long as everybody knows, you said it was, the description was,
Yes, the description was publicized, that it's over the property and road that is located between Avenue C and Western Avenue, and on Front Street. And that is a location that has been discussed more than once, probably quite a few times.
Other than that, the bid will be taken under advisement and referred to the appropriate committee.
Thank you. We'll now close the bid meeting. Thank you. All right, we'll move right on into committee. Public Works Committee, Mr. Crater.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to open up the Public Works Committee. Everyone is present except Lyle Fuller. Not present. First off, we'll start with the report. Mr. Albert John.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We have one piece of equipment that's down, which is on track. Hopefully it'll be back up next week. We'll know more money. We are still spraying for mosquitoes, which I think will go for probably another 3 weeks. We usually shut it down the week after Rice Festival. If they happen to pop back up, then we'll go back to spraying again. But right now, matter of fact, starting this past Monday, we're spraying the city once a week. It's saving chemicals, saving money. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next up, Street Commissioner, Mr. Gilbert Gozine.
He is not here. He's out for a little while. He had surgery. And, but just to let everybody know, we've been working hard and finally catching up with the grass. It finally stopped raining and trimming and doing a lot of other things.
Thank you. Any questions about the street? Mr. Vernon Martin.
Yeah, that name is hard to remember, brother. Okay, I don't know if this would be under recreation or what. We have a situation at the Catholic Park, as everybody call it, St. Teresa Park, Dusson Park. It has many names, but only one description. Byron, I don't know if you got the call, but I'm pretty sure you did, about someone going over there, quote unquote, trimming trees. Only problem is, I don't know which one of y'all would handle this. Would it be under Public Works or would it be under Recreation? I'm sorry?
Street department?
Okay, so that means that's not you public, street that would be, so,
The mayor.
okay.
So what's the problem?
What's the problem is that the limbs are still there,
Limbs are still where?
at the park.
At the park, have they been trimmed?
Yeah, they're
This
just on
is,
the ground.
right, this is the problem that I'm having. Okay, whoever cut those limbs, God bless them, because they done a good job, because basically I tried to explain to people, those are oak trees. Am I right in saying that? In the park, they are oak trees,
Yes.
right? Live oaks, okay, which is a national tree, and you ain't supposed to touch that unless you have permission from not only the Army Corps of Engineers, but Department of Interior as well. Okay? I know we deal with that all the time, and ain't nothing to play with. Our problem is this. The city hadn't picked it up because they want to find out who cut it. Man, they ain't got a damn thing to do with the price of salt. Who done the cutting? The fact of the matter is, pick the trees up. The limbs are cut. What you gonna do, get up there and glue the limbs back? Okay? Apparently, they thought that they was doing a service for the kids because they wanted to play football and whatever, like back in the day. But they was running into the trees. Okay? Unless you verse on the trees, I don't know, Crowley still a tree city. All the trees we had been knocked down by all these hurricanes and what have you. But when you drive into Crowley, that's the first thing you see, a tree city.
Mr. Chair?
Okay?
Mr. Martin, was it the city that trimmed the trees?
If you allow me to finish,
Oh, I thought you were completely.
no, I'm not. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I just said that it was a citizen that done, whoever it was, that done the trimming.
Okay.
Okay, if the city would have, I'm pretty sure it would have had to work on it, but that's another story. So I called Mr. Spell, and I asked the question, why aren't they picked up? And he told me, well, we were trying to find out who cut the limbs. Good luck with that. Okay, because I done heard 5 people. Matter of fact, they said Steph Martin was out there with a chainsaw cutting trees. I said, well, blame me. Tell them, yes, I done it, and I proved I done it. Okay? But listen, the kids can't play in the park. Here it is Wednesday. Apparently this was cut Friday or before, because we had a funeral Saturday and we had Mass Sunday, and they were trimmed. So I'm thinking, well, it's going to be picked up, whatever. Well, all of a sudden, I get phone calls saying that the city don't want to pick up the trees. I said, well, if they cut the trees, they should pick them up. Well, they're saying they didn't cut them. The bottom line here is very simple. It doesn't matter who cut the trees. Now, if they knew for a fact, if it's ran inside our journal that if you cut an oak tree, you'll get fined every day, well, there's no placement for anything, but in other words, there's no oops on it, okay, because you should have read. If you don't know how to read, like I tell people all the time, if you don't know how to read and the person next to you got the winning ticket and tell you lost but walk up here and get the prize, well, guess what? You just been jacked. Okay, I know it sounds funny, but I tell them that all the time. There's no excuse for not knowing the law, because when you go in the city, you need to learn the law. So here we go. I spoke to Mr. Spell not even a half an hour ago, and he told me, well, I was just trying to find out. Well, first of all, you're not a detective. I appreciate his effort with it. And chances are they're going to give out 100 names before they find the first one. Unless there's a camera with somebody showing cutting trees, you ain't going to find it. So one thing I'm asking, Mayor, please, this is under your purview with this, please get limbs picked up, because it makes the park look like, it makes the city look bad. Okay? It doesn't matter who cut the limbs. Pick it, just pick them up. If you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I'm sure the mayor would like to.
Yeah, well, instead of going through all of that, you could have said, Mayor, if you don't mind, trees have been trimmed, please pick them up. And I do appreciate what you just asked at the very end, and we'll try to make sure that it gets picked up. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I rebut? Since you brought that up, let's bring it to what it is.
Okay.
We called City Hall many times and told us, they were told that you need to come do a work order. Now, what the hell you need a work order on city property for? Now, since you went there, let me just open up a can of worms and let it flow, all right? So that means that administration ain't done their job, because basically you should have somebody ride the cities, and it, all due respect to Parks and Recs, we pay people to do a job, okay? It may be funny to you, but it's not me, it's in my damn district. You understand? I doubt if you know where my district begins and ends.
Okay, let's.
But anyway,
okay.
please, get the trees.
As chairman,
Yeah, please, get the trees, because they throwing it down on me and my.
thank you, Mr. Martin.
Yeah, thank you, okay, you're welcome.
Next up, we'll have Mr. Mader, the city engineer, give his report.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be a little hoarse today, but I'll try to get through it. You have my engineer's report. You also have the agenda for Public Works, and attached to that agenda are the 2 action items. It's also in my report on page 4 and 5, where I give you more information about the status of the project. So if you turn to my report on page 4, you'll see that first item is contract A for the street improvement project. As of September 25th, that contract A was 75% complete by time, 36% complete by cost. Partial payment estimate number 10 has a total value of work through that date at $2,474,604.17. The amount of $123,730.21 is being withheld for labor and material means retainage. That amount is 5% of the work, the total value of work done. So the total amount due under partial payment number 10 is $55,980.48. And I ask that you consider approving partial payment estimate number 10 to Glenn Leger Construction for contract A in the amount of $55,980.48.
Offered.
Offered by Mr. Martin,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Core. Discussion? Mrs. Stringfellow?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure if it's on contract A or B, but do you know what they're doing on, and I just saw this last night, so I didn't get a chance to call you, on West 15th and Buact?
No, I'm not
Okay.
aware of any drainage or any more overlay. I think all the overlay's been done. It could
It's
be-
a drainage look. It looks like it's drainage, but I'll send you some pictures.
Okay, I'll find out.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else?
This one.
Mr. Martin?
Tim, now this right here, this is not, or is it
Step,
the,
turn your mic on.
okay, sorry. Is this with the road?
Yes.
Okay,
it's,
well-
Glenn Leger contract.
All right, listen, we have, I'm gonna give you the address if you don't mind. It's 317 North Avenue B. And if you don't mind, can you go by there and talk to, the lady, Ms. Bernard? There's something that needs to be seen, so if you don't mind, can you, because I told her that I'll be talking to you about it. It's 317 North Avenue B. Simplest way to get to it, Tim, when you get to down 3rd Street, when you see the Morning Star Baptist Church, and on the next, well, the 2 four-ways that we put. It's between the 2 four-ways on the west side. And it's something that needs to be addressed, and she'll tell you about it once you get there. Appreciate it if you don't mind taking a look at that.
Take care of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments? Audience? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The contract B begins at the bottom of page 4, the action, and the status is at the top of page 5. As of September 25th, the contract was 55% complete by contract time, 52% complete by cost. We're offering partial payment estimate number 5, which has a total value of work done through that date at $5,164,753.25. The amount of retainage at 5% of that is $258,237.66. So the total amount due for partial payment estimate number 5 is $775,580.91. I would ask that you approve partial payment estimate number 5 to Glenn Leger Construction for contract B in the amount of $775,580.91.
Over. Second.
Offered by Mr. Martin, seconded by Mr. Wilridge. Discussion. Mrs. Springfield.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, when we approve those payments, I'm just curious, I've been meaning to ask you this before. Do you get your percentage out of that, or do you do that at the end of the project?
We're paid proportionally to the completion by the contract amount of our basic engineering services during construction.
So once the whole project's complete?
You know, every month, when you pay the contractor, he's 52% complete by cost, so you pay us 52% of our fee for services during construction.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Martin.
Okay, Tim, just to clear the air on something that we had talked about a while back, I think it was Councilwoman Springfield asked about doing inspections, doing work while, Kim, if I'm wrong, please let me know, but you had asked a question.
I know the answer.
Okay, good. Well, I just want to make sure for the audience that once all this is done, you still will be riding with each council person, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so any issues that comes about, we'll be able to see, as one say, touch and hold. So I just want to make sure with that, that's what to retain. All right, thank you, sir.
Mrs. Springfield.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I did speak with someone from Glenn Leger yesterday, and they said that they actually had a meeting today about all the issues, and they're going to, we talked about punch list and all that, and they're going to do that at the end of the meeting. At the end of their services and look at everything, and they're going to take all the complaints into account.
There you go. I just wanted to make sure that you were satisfied.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's the only action that I have to offer at this time. The rest of my report stands as written, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have now, or between now and next Wednesday, or next Wednesday, or any time after.
Answer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other discussion items?
Hello.
Mrs. Deb, you wanted to address, did you want to address the council at this time?
Sorry, you didn't hear anything else.
Oh, really?
So I told everyone to let me know when it was my turn. My hearing aids are as loud as it'll go.
That one's, I texted
I'm
her
here to
somewhere.
complain again about the Bicentennial Park. It's my first time here to complain about it. Since 1976, that park has been there. It's much better. And the drainage is horrible, horrible. Ever since Notre Dame, St. Michael's and Northside built their schools there, there's one ditch that all the water drains through. And half the time, the ditch is never cleaned. I don't know if it's the property of the city, because the property was given to the city for a park, or if it's the owner that owns the rice field next to it, who's responsible for that ditch. But that needs to stay clean. Otherwise, I'm going to get water in my house. 3 times I've had it up to the threshold of the house already. And I complain about it, and then somebody will come and clean the ditch out once, and then they'll leave it alone again until another hurricane is threatening or something. The other thing I'm complaining about, and I just spoke with Peter Kirsch, and he's going to be there tomorrow morning, and I'm going to hold him to his word. The levee that is left next to our property had not been maintained at all. It was up to us to maintain it. Where my husband and I are getting up in age, and we quit maintaining it. It's not our property. it's the city or the recreation department, whoever. There are trees that are lining between the levee and my fence that are overgrown, and they all need to be cut and taken out. There's a little bitty ditch between the park and the levee. That ditch needs to be cut deeper or whatever. I know there's a gas line underneath it, so they have to be careful. But I don't like my house looking trashy because of all the stuff all over the fence, and I want it taken care of, whether it's the city or the park's responsibility. Peter will be there tomorrow, and like I said, we approached the mayor on September the 9th, and he said that he would be there Monday morning, and we're gonna get it taken care of as quickly as we can. Well, now we're hearing that they have to pick up the tree branches all over town, and there's always an excuse. It doesn't get done. And so it's time something's done.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
Just for clarity, Ms. Shindell, so you live on the southwest corner of Bicentennial Park?
Correct.
And the ditch that you were referring to, where's that ditch located? The first one you
Which one? There's a little bitty one
No,
that's,
the first
the
one you're
other
talking
one is on the east side of the park.
The east side.
And it runs from 17th all the way down to what used to be that big gully that was on Oddfellows Road, as well as it goes east to Highway 90.
Got you, I think, Mayor, you have that? You have all? Okay, great. I think he has it, and,
Thank you all very much.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
okay, do the budding of your property, does it go to Oddfellows?
Does it go where?
No, I'm just asking.
No.
No, our property goes, well, the front of the house is on East 17th Street.
Okay.
The back of the house butts up against Hubal and Holly.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
The reason why I asked that, because I remember there was an MOU when you said about taking care of the property, which I'm pretty sure everybody bought off, they didn't build just about everything on that little property. Tim, if you remember, the city allowed the residents to actually in other words, take care of the property, use the property until it's applied. Well, since the influx of businesses, everything was taken. That's why I just asked. I just want to find out.
Right.
Because we did, if I remember, Tim, if I'm wrong, correct me, we did give the tenants, the owners of the property, first shot at buying it, if they would maintain it. So I thought you might have a gold mine.
Not that property.
Oh, all right, but no, I thought you had.
Believe me, we would have bought property next to us
Yes, ma'am.
had we known.
But I'm just saying, whoever did take advantage of it, they got a gold mine with it. All right, thank you. Appreciate
Right,
it.
and because of the drainage problem, water stays in the parking
Yes,
area,
ma'am.
and therefore we get the mosquitoes. Thank God they spray.
Okay.
Because with the schools there, I know they drive all the way in and they spray the backs,
Right.
and that way they spray the park as well.
Yeah, I noticed something at Centennial. I don't know, Peter, you might be able to answer it. Is that an official soccer field or something?
Yes, sir, that's where we play soccer.
Well, I'll tell you what, there'll be some people out there. All right, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Strickland.
Thank you, Chair. I do have pictures of all of those. I
Okay.
took extensive pictures. It's been a while, but, and I was in the process of labeling all of them and getting them out, and, so I can send those to all of y'all, and
Appreciate
Peter, I
that.
can send them to you too. I think I did send them, but, okay,
Miss Joni showed me the pictures,
okay,
and we're gonna go do what we can
okay.
with the ditch and the grass. But when it comes to cleaning out ditches and tree trimming, we're not equipped for that, so I'll get with the street department.
Okay.
But I'll get with, Ms. Shindell.
Okay, and there's some concrete that has some graffiti on it, so I took pictures of all of that too, so, okay, thank you,
No
Peter.
problem.
I also want to say thank you to 3 of the aldermen here that are very helpful to us. Whenever we need anything done, you're always there for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any,
Your address and this.
Mrs. Shindell?
The last house on the left.
Yeah.
Ms. Joni?
Ms. Joni.
Ms. Joni?
Oh, well, we'll get it.
Jody,
Please, might have a fire.
I'm sorry. I was trying to run out.
That's okay. Could you give us your address, please? Your address?
Our address is 651 East 17th.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the Public Works Committee? In the Public Works Committee recess.
Thank you. Next is utilities, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, sir. I'm trying to get you from you. Okay, utility committee. All right, let's see. We do have a quorum present. Okay, we do have a quorum present. Let's see, reports, we're gonna start with Tim Crater with wastewater. Superintendent?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Not a long report, 578 Louisiana one-call requests, 22 work orders that were filed. We pulled pumps at Hutchinson and Oddfellows. They were cleaned out, serviced and put back down into the station, and they're still up and running. We have one piece of equipment, our tractor that we cut the facility with is down at John Deere, with no more Monday. Other than that, that's all I have. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Well, whichever one, want to go first.
I'm just, the status of the smoke testing, how's that going?
We're made aware where the locations they are at. I was notified this afternoon of an issue that we'll be addressing first thing in the morning. They, in the bottom of the ditch that was overgrown on Western, there was a washout. You can see it was contractor done back during the sewer project prior to me. We believe that there's a connection that's not what we can see from the top. We'll estimate tomorrow and get that repaired and see what happens. But other than that, that's the only issue that we've been made aware of since we started.
And I had a couple of calls about smoke entering the residence. Is that the sign of a leak from the back seal of the toilet? Or is that typical coming just through maybe a P-trap that's not filled with water?
Correct. If they're getting smoke into the house.
Yes.
Seal around the toilet, an O-ring on a sink, or water not in the P-trap and allowing that to go in. Some people will smell some type of gas or odor, and most of the time it's because of that.
Okay, I think it's
It's the same.
same, okay.
Jim, yesterday I was on my golf cart and I passed by a corner of Avenue Shade and Jeanette Street. There's a big project going on right there, and it really smells like sewer right there. Is that a sewer project going on, or what's happening right there? You know?
Jeanette and Avenue J, doesn't ring a bell for us.
Okay. There's something
I
big
can
going
look
on right
into
there.
it.
Maybe
I
you know.
don't think that's,
Right on.
Okay.
doesn't ring a bell for us, for me anyway.
Okay. It's the street that, well, maybe that's Elm. That goes in front of the church. So, yeah, that's Elm.
It is
Corner of Elm
there
and
is a
Jeanette.
project on Elm.
It is a what
There is a
project?
project, it's either gas or water, it's a contractor.
Any other questions? Kim?
Yes, Tim, where on Western?
325, I think it is. The address is in front of that
Okay, okay.
project on the west side.
Any other questions? Just have one. Chief, fire chief. I know this might sound crazy, but I mean, things happen. Since you mentioned about the O-rings, no, you can say it well. Have there been any, let's face it, I mean, a person sees smoke coming into their home, first thing they do is call the fire department. You haven't had any alarms like that, have you? How many have you had? Just offhand, just. Okay, does that count? I know you have to write for y'all rating, does that count against y'all ratings when y'all go into something like that? Okay, but y'all still count it as a call? Okay, thank you. All right, Tim. Any other questions for Tim? Thank you, bud. Have a blessing. Let's see. Tim Mailer, Joe Show, city engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for you. Is the chairman's new dress code something we have to start?
Man, listen, let me tell you something, buddy. And I'm gonna say this to everybody since you brought this up. In my business, a lot of people see my coveralls. That's the reason why I wear them. I work 7 days a week. I have people working for me that cannot speak English, but they can read what the hell up here. I mean, it is what it is. I went to a site, lollygagging, having fun, and I just happened to have just a regular whatever on. So I asked them, I said, why are y'all here? They're like, who are you and what you want? I said, never mind, I'll be right back. Went to the office, put on the coveralls, all of a sudden they running, boss, there's somebody over here messing with us. I said, yeah, well, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at right here is what I wear on a normal basis, okay? But a normal basis for me is basically meetings or what have you. I feel comfortable in my coveralls. I know, the issues I have with my back or whatever, but it is what it is. So no, this is regular for me, and I tell anybody, the Queen said you got to be seen to be believed. Believe you me, when step one walk in the meeting, and if I got that red tie on, somebody else is in trouble. So it is what it is. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up, Tim. But the answer to it, you do what you do. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I concede if it's a competition.
I mean, you do pretty well yourself now. So now some call me the Stephen A. All right, yeah, it is what it is. All right, hey, it is what it is. All right, does that answer your question?
All right, yes,
Thank you,
it
sir.
does. I'm sorry I brought it up.
There you go, man. I'm sorry I had to detail that, but it is what it is.
All right, my only action item in utility is also attached to your utility committee agenda. It's a partial payment estimate. The project was brought up a minute ago. It's on page 16. It's the LCDBG fiscal year 2021 project. That is the project that we're smoke testing. And the status is going to be at the bottom of page 17. As of September 25th, contract is 30% complete by time, 8% complete by cost. Partial payment number 4 has a total value of work done through September 25th at $139,895.70. The amount of $6,994.79 is the retainage, 5% of the amount. And the total amount due is $33,141.47. So I'm asking you to consider approving partial payment number 4 to NCMC for the rehabilitation of the sewage collection system in the amount of $33,141.47.
Mr. Chair, I move as read.
Offered. Second. It was offered and second to approve as read in the amount, the rehabilitation amount of the sewer collection system, approved partial payment, okay. Estimate number 4, at the rate and true number of $33,141.47. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, have the same right? Motion carried.
No more action items, and I'm always available for questions you have about any of the dates. That's it.
Right. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, that's it we got. Okay, on action items, we just done that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion? Anything else that can come before utilities? We're gonna recess. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Recreation Committee. Mr. Primo is not here. Mr. Crater?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Recreation Committee. Mr. Primo and Mr. Fogelman are both absent, but we do have a quorum. First off, we'll start off with the Recreation Director, Mr. Peter Kirsch's report.
Thank you. We had a new ice machine installed at the Martin Luther King Center last week. That the old unit that we had been waiting on parts It was over 15 years old. It was easier and more efficient just to install a new unit. So we have a brand new ice machine step at the Martin Luther King Center, producing ice and keeping drinks cold as we speak.
Amen.
Flag football games have started this past Saturday, and they will be played through November 19th. I'd like to thank Notre Dame High School for the use of their football field for our games. Soccer games have also started this past Saturday and will be played through November 19th, and all games are being played at Bicentennial Park. Roller skating at Martin Luther King continues this Friday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It is a free event, and last event we saw over 100 children attend.
150, but over 150. Yes, sir.
We will be starting our adult basketball program. The next 2 weeks, games will be played at Martin Luther King on Tuesday nights. We are continuing to host tournaments through the fall. We had 37 teams in Crowley this past weekend. There will be college fall baseball this coming Saturday at Heritage/Fizo/Girls Park, depending on what generation you grew up in Crowley, Sunday afternoon. And Rice Festival building roof update. The roofing contractor will be on site next week. Hopefully work will start on that project soon because it sure has been dry. We'd like to get that done as soon as possible. As you see on the agenda tonight, it's time to address the restrooms at the park. Unfortunately, it's the biggest complaint we've had of the facility since we've overhauled it. The restrooms we currently have in the park were designed and built over 25 years ago and were not designed to serve the amount of people we are hosting every weekend. We're hosting 2,000 plus people during peak season during late spring and summer with no air conditioning or ventilation. The Henskins restroom has 2 men's urinals and 1 stall, and the women's restroom has only 3 stalls. The Bronco restroom has 2 men's urinals and 2 stalls, and the women's restroom has 4 stalls. That is a total of 3 urinals and 10 stalls to accommodate all of our guests. We've rented portable trailers and brought in portalettes to help alleviate the problem, and to date we've spent over $20,000, but it's still not a permanent solution. Also, we would like to consider converting the Henskins restrooms that are currently there into an umpire locker room / dressing room to give them a place to change and their own restrooms between games. Currently, the umpires have to use the Rice Festival building to change. And if you've been to the park, you know the hall that you have from the Rice Festival building to the Henskins side of the park. And if we have a function or a rental at the Rice Festival building, they either have to go into the restrooms or just change in their vehicles. We're also looking to upgrade facilitate a new restroom building at Miller Stadium. That stadium currently has 1 urinal and 1 stall for men and only 1 stall for women. We're seeing bigger crowds for high school events and tournament events, and if the grand opening of JMU is a sign of what's coming, those crowds will be large in nature themselves. We have even had visitors knock on the doors of Supreme Rice Mills to use their restrooms because of the long wait times. Whether we like it or not, we're being judged by our restrooms, and what we have is good for what we used to do, but right now it's not sufficient for what we are currently doing. I know that it was brought up that there are other complexes in the area that are being built with turf, and what are we going to do in Crowley to make sure that the tournaments stay? This has been the biggest issue that we've had since we've opened. We knew that when we started it, but we wanted to get into the game, pardon the pun, and see what we would be hosting and what we can expect with that. And we did. We knew going into it that our restrooms were going to be a shortfall, but it's time to address that. So you'll see the action item on the agenda tonight. And what we're asking is that in the Recreation Committee, we can make a motion to have the mayor engage an architect to draw up specs and plans. And then after that, refer to Revenue and Finance Committee to discuss the plan for the project. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes,
A couple questions. One of them is that, so we don't have any plans or specifications, so we don't really know how much any of this is going to cost until we get that back, right?
No, sir. What we have right now is just a budget cost that I got from Mr. Huffpower, and I spoke to him. That represents quadruple what we have. So like on the Henskins restroom side, we looked at it from the angle of ladies' restrooms. We have 3 stalls. So we asked for a budget cost on what it would be to build a 12 stall restroom for the ladies. And we would mirror that with the men. So it would give us 4 times what we currently have. And like I said, that's a budget cost.
And I guess hopefully the council will be able to approve any plans and specifications that they do come up with. But do you know, so Claire Dore is the grant writer that the mayor has on contract now?
Yes.
Have you been in contact with her about possible grants? Or because historic Miller Stadium, you would think that there should be somebody out there that would, some grants out there. So has that been done yet?
I haven't spoken to Claire myself, but I think the mayor has secured. Is it down again? Tired of hearing?
No.
Said I asked for too much. Is that better? Okay. I haven't spoken to Ms. Claire directly, but I think the mayor has secured some grant funds that can be applied to this project. Maybe he could speak to that, or that could be brought up in revenue and finance as well. But as far as any additional funds, I have not spoken to him.
And thanks to Representative John Stefanski, that was $100,000 that he was able to secure for us. So, but again, I apologize, Mr. Chair. And again, and that was a grant that was offered a few months ago. And I'm going to add to this, is that if you attempt to put in an application for a grant, you know how long it takes for a grant. It takes a very long time. To be able to get that kind of money in a grant, it's going to probably take, I really don't know. I'm going to tell you a year to 2 years, and we just don't have that long. We really don't.
Mrs. Stringfellow.
Thank you. I went back and looked over some of my old notes last night, and I asked for a grant writer probably in February of 2019. And if we would have had one on staff, it's my belief that we could have been on top of some of these things. But nevertheless, do you know if there was some talk about a new business plan? Do you know if there was a new business plan?
We updated the numbers in the business plan that on the budget portion. We didn't rewrite the business plan. So those numbers were updated on the budget portion.
Were we given a copy of that, or?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Can we
I can
get
get-
a copy?
yeah,
Okay,
sure.
all right, thank you. And I'm sorry for y'all not being able to hear. I texted our sound person, and I don't know what's going on with those back speakers, so.
Yeah, Mr. Rich.
Peter, I think we've spent, about $11 million with you guys so far? It's gonna probably take, about 10 years to pay that off? If we add another, I think the estimate I saw was about 600,000. How long do you think we'll be able to pay that off too?
We spent on the park, it was 2.1 for the fields and the lighting.
Okay.
The parking was another $1 million. What was,
I think
I don't remember.
2 million for the, 2.1 for the park. I think it was 2.1 or 2.5 for the parking, and it was like 6.7 million for the ballparks and the lighting altogether. So we're looking at probably 9 million, something like that, right? Go ahead, Mr. Baker.
If I may, it's over $2 million for parking. It's 5.2 for the fields themselves, but you didn't spend that money. You are on a contract to pay them on a monthly basis, so it's not money spent.
Does that include the lighting?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So
Yes.
7.5.
Correct. So then the CEA that we have with the company who built the parks is charging us a utility fee, a service fee. I heard in one of the forums that it was mentioned that the city borrowed the money and were maxed out on bonds and all those things, and that's not accurate. So the money that was spent by the company to build the ball fields doesn't even show up on the city debt sheet. It's not debt to the city, and it doesn't affect our credit rating or our bonding ability. And that's just the nuts and bolts of that. As far as the payback goes on the turf and the lighting and on that aspect of it, you have to go back to the CEA, and there's different life spans on different parts. So on the turf, it's 15 years. On the lights, I think it was 20. I think on the concrete, it was 25. And we have an option to buy out of that at any point in time with the depreciated value of those aspects of the job. So you go down the road, the buyout is cheaper. When you get to the life expectancy of the turf, for example, we could buy out the turf at $1 in 15 years. We can have them replace it at their charge or at their cost, or we replace it at ours. So it's complicated, Tammy.
I guess what I was trying to get at was, so we approved the fields first, and then right after that, the parking was bad, so we needed to approve that too, so that was another $2 million. Here we are not a year after that, and now we have a bathroom problem. And I guess when I saw with some of the budget stuff, we had a problem with some of the park making some money. So if I misunderstood that, please correct me. Then we have a deficit with some of that too.
We saw revenue come up in an area that we didn't expect it to. We expected the revenue to come in through concession sales and field room. Our projections were low on that. But if you go back and look at the projections on sales tax, it was through the roof on sales tax. And in the business plan, it was even brought up that.
And that's also my concern too, because I don't know if we can guarantee tax revenue from the sales tax.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I understand. Yes, sir. Mr. Bell?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are averaging 3 times, in 2 years, we're averaging 3 times more than the annual debt service is to the improvements on the park. And yes, although it's not a guarantee that will increase, it is a guarantee it won't increase if you don't increase the facilities necessary to make that an option. And that's what's being taken care of today.
Any other comments? Mr. Martin?
Okay. Bathrooms. What else? Say bathrooms, what else? The roof?
No.
Well, no, I'm just saying repairs going on out of there. Okay, let's get to the nuts and bolts. You need a new restroom, correct?
Yes.
I agree with you 100%. You just use a term, and I want to elaborate on it because it's germane to this situation. You just said that the restrooms were outdated, and I agree with that. Okay. But I can honestly say I never had a problem with you understanding the need at the MLK Center. All right. Pete, if you remember, when we had first talked about doing the bathrooms at the MLK Center, how many times were this council told that it was in process and that we were waiting on architect for the bathrooms? How many times? Numerous times, no times, or a few? I mean, whatever it is.
You're going down the road, I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, okay,
You're
I know why.
asking me to throw my
I know
boss
why.
under the bus.
No, I'm not throwing him under the
confident in
bus.
that question.
No, I'm not throwing him under the bus. You know, and I want to make it clear, I apologize if you think that. But I want to make understand it's here, and you need a bathroom, I agree with it. Okay? But just for the record, you know, we was told that was never talked about. I mean, and when I asked to go to the clerk, you told the clerk don't work for us, so, I'm moving on. Okay. Listen. The bathrooms, and I have to give it to you, buddy, and you know, when it come down to the kids, everybody tells me, man, you this, that, and the other. When it come down to elderly and the kids, well, that's what I'm about. Everybody should fend for your damn self, okay? We got elderly people, before we had our conversation, trying to get in Porterless in a wheelchair, trying to get from the pavement to the pavilion when it's wet. You know what I mean? All that.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we on track with that. Listen, I know one thing for sure, that that park is designed to make money. And let's face it, accommodation for the bathroom is class A. You got to, it is what it is. We do what we do, okay? And bothering other people to use their facilities where, God forbid, theirs get clogged up, then we got another problem, okay?
Yes.
But it is what it is. Listen, if you remember when we talked about the MLK Center, and it's just general information. Anybody that listened to this video right here, whatever they want to call it, they can go back and find in archives. The three things that I remember asking you, and this before the new council even got on board, was not, lights. If I'm wrong, just yeah, Nate. Lights. You agree with the lights? Okay. We know that's forthcoming. Okay. A walking track, forthcoming. Okay. And a bathroom. All right. Well, you and I went out there, and like I said, I don't want you to think I'm trying to do it, but you know where we had first discussed where the bathroom was going.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. We're good with that. Okay. Now, what you're asking us to do is to provide a way to accommodate people out there, which is maybe 100 times more than, because you do it on a daily basis. I see all the calls and I see all the business going through there. But the needs are for both sides of the city. In other words, if you live on this side of Highway 90, we go to the restrooms too. You see what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All right. Without being out of play here. So when you ask for this vote, I'm going to give you a yes vote on it. You know, because I see the need. I'm not a person that's just looking for Ward 3 Division A and B. I'm looking for the whole city. Because it's not, there's nobody at that gate where it better not be. They tell you what ward you live in, well, you can't come here. Okay, it's open to the public. All right. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page with it. But I'm with you 100% with that. I just want to make other things clear. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Strickland.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Peter, do you foresee, after we do this, if we approve this project, do you foresee anything else out there that we would have to update and do in the near future?
This would be the last major infrastructure project that we have to complete.
Okay,
There's amenities, but that could all be worked into the budget down the road.
okay,
The parking, restaurant, fields, obviously, and that's where we started with this. It was a linear plan. We needed the fields, and again, please pardon the pun. We needed the fields, the lighting to get in the ballgame.
right.
Now we're a player. We're a major player in the ballgame. And we're seeing more teams than we even expected in the original business plan. We thought it was a COVID thing. We thought it was just an anomaly. But those numbers are still holding the year post-COVID. And we're moving forward with good, this is a good problem. It's growing pains. I could have proposed a turnkey job on the park 2 years ago that included restrooms and a lot of the other amenities. But I know that it was just not feasible to do because that would have been about $12 to $15 million in a lump sum. Now we've got an established business that's still growing in its infancy. We're just looking to get better. And we knew then that yes, it was going to be bigger than what we had.
Right.
But what we're seeing 2 years later, it's bigger than we thought it was going to be then too.
I still believe we would probably all like to see that business plan if you could just send us all a copy.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And also, I think everybody will be more comfortable if we're presented with the plans and specs prior to having to make a commitment to the money. Right?
Yes.
So we don't go through that fiasco that we did in the past. That's good to hear too. Any other questions, Mr. Ford?
Peter, about what time frame are we looking at to get the plans and specifications completed?
I'm told that it could probably be turned over in 30 days. So what I'm hoping is if we can have the mayor engage an architect tonight or by next week, by November committee, we could have that. Or by committee, council of November, we could have that in hand.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from Mr. Kirsch? Thank you, Mr. Kirsch.
Thank you.
Next up, City Engineer, Mr. Tim Mayer.
So you have an action item there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under action items, I'll read the action item to authorize the preparation of construction plans. Okay. To authorize the preparation of construction plans and specifications for the construction of new restrooms at Miller Stadium and Hinskins Park, for remodeling existing restrooms at Hinskins Park, for an umpire dressing room, an air conditioner, and air condition existing restrooms at the Bronco concession stand, and refer to the Revenue and Finance Committee for appropriation of funds.
Mr. Chair, I move as read.
Motion by Mr. Cavell.
I'll second.
And now comments.
This is just revenue.
And I may be wrong, but I think it's kind of premature to appropriate funds for something that we don't know what we're doing yet. But I'll let the Finance Committee take that up in their committee. Any other comments?
Just one.
Yes, Mr. Mark.
I've learned the question that you just introduced is a good question. But let's say if there is a turnaround on the council, they would have the right to rescind any and all things that the previous council approved, as long as they have just cause. Okay, what I mean by just cause, you can't do it because you didn't like what, but if the proof is in the pudding, in other words, the numbers that are being matched up right now turn out to be double. It is what it is, with inflation and everything. Well, whatever the council approve, they approve. You know, I've seen this done, traveling the state, workshop, that's one of the questions. But what about if a new council, a new mayor, or whatever, don't like it? Well, guess what? They bring it up, they want to rescind it, just like you amend anything, you can amend numbers. Okay, if the numbers get to be too high, well, I think what we need to do is set a threshold where it won't reach, that they won't be able to go over the threshold. Okay? If that would make you feel a little more comfortable, I know it would with me. I don't think we need to sign a blank check and say, go at it, because like I said, if you take a sure hand of the people on the other side that's running for office, they may not agree with you. So I'm just saying there's a way for them to, even though if it is approved by this council, there's an opt-out for incoming council. It's called amendments. Thank you.
And that's why I said it would go through Revenue Finance and let them discuss it.
Oh, okay, I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Mayor.
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
That is correct, Mr. Crater, just to let everybody know that these are preliminary costs, just preliminary costs until we actually get the plans in hand. And then we get an estimate from contractors. That will be the actual cost at that time. But this preliminary cost is an appropriation that you are approving at this point. And then that's what the appropriation would be for that amount. And then if you had to amend it at that point in another month, when we got the plans, who knows, it might even be a little bit less. But we don't know at this point, but this is just a preliminary cost.
Mr. Cavell.
It's very similar to the situation we moved in at 4 years ago when the prior council had purchased the fleet of cars for the police department. There was an issue right before we came in. We had to amend that which the previous council did. It's happened pretty often.
Every council.
Any other comments?
This one.
Mr. Mark.
Okay, it is what it is. When Katrina hit, Rita hit, all eyes are on Louisiana. The person that deals, and Tim, he's in the number, he knows what's what. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you right now, 4 of our crews hit to Florida. Everybody's heading to Florida. You know what else is going to Florida? Material. Okay? Material is about to go up at least 8 to 20% within the next, they say 5 days. Lowe's sent out, I don't know why they got me as preferred on the list, but it is what it is. So bear in mind, when we get to revenue and finance, if we can, and I'm just using this as something to think about for FYI, remember, the numbers that we talk right now probably going to change next week. And it's going to change the week after that because the president and the Department of Interior, everybody has come to HUD and everybody else say, whatever you got, send your labor what they said, bring your people and build it and they will come, but they gotta rebuild. So I would think this, and when we get to revenue and finance, bear in mind, we need to lock in a number. And I'm pretty sure you can go talk to anybody that does any type of carpentry, what have you. They can measure and get an idea, Peter, you understand what I'm saying? A pre-estimate of what it would cost now. And if it takes us having a special meeting to say, okay, let's write the check for the material right now and worry about labor later, I think we'll be ahead of the game. Because we're gonna wind up going up another 15 to 20% on both labor and material. So basically $20,000, I'm just using the term $20,000, now turns into $13,000. And when you add the labor to it, it's just like spending $5,000 of cash money compared to a $30,000 bill that you're going to get just to reach your level. So with that, I'll turn it back over. I just want to bring that up for everybody.
Yeah, well, I think once we get the construction plans and specifications, then we'll have a better idea of what we're looking at and how much it's gonna cost. Any comments from the audience before we vote on this matter? Sammy?
I think where I'm standing too with it is if the city made extra tax money, and there should be some extra money when we did the budget.
Amen.
And at that point, we should probably put this in the budget, and they could have did it then because we had all this extra money. But I don't remember seeing any extra money in the budget. It was all spent. So I think that's where I'm at with it.
And I understand that, Sammy, and to be on the other side of that, I didn't have the budget cost in. The budget cost for the restrooms at budget time.
I'm not saying that you don't need it. I don't know. I guess it's because it's the cost.
Right.
Is what I'm seeing. Plus, we already did something else, and, you know.
Understood.
If I may, before we get out of recreation.
Yeah, Mr. Martin.
Would y'all agree that recreation is one of our biggest money spenders?
Money spenders?
Well, I mean, it spends money like, well, we got, in other words, like you said, you got to build a park before they play in the park. Okay? Whether it was $7 million or whatever it might be, whether it's 1 penny is obligated to the city, guess what? Layman people that don't know anything about city government, it's a city. The city's paying for that. Okay? If I may, let me get to the point, please. Peter, and whomever is lucky enough and blessed enough to, whether it's re-election or whatever it may be, new people coming in, you should have a line item for just that. Architects, because recreation, somebody's gonna run into a fence, somebody's gonna go destroy the bathroom. I mean, there's always something, okay? You're the only positionary department that brings in strangers, okay? I'm pretty sure you got people sleeping out there at night. They have to wear, I don't know if the bathrooms are locked, I don't know, okay? But even to that point, I'm pretty sure they're sleeping on the stadiums, because the higher they are, the less mosquitoes or whatever it may be. And we just got the word that they're spraying every night, so guess what? If you don't like mosquitoes, let's go to the parks, okay? And chief, that goes with you with the homeless or whatever. But leading on, I think that we need to have somebody on staff, like him brought up many times about someone doing grants. Okay, well, let's try and, now, Johnson Francis is about the best thing ever happened to the city of Crowley. But guess what? He's moving on, okay? And I know he's moving on because I got his back. I got turned off by the DNC, which is another story. But anyway, I don't know who's planning on running, but whoever that person is planning on running, we need to set them in here and say, listen, are you planning on traveling the coattails and the tracks that our previous representative, or are you planning on coming in as a new? Because if you're planning on coming in as a new, we want to know where you're going. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? But in that money, whatever comes out of it, you need to have somebody that can go out there. I don't know if it be a monthly retainer or whatever it may be, and I know it's administrative, but we're talking about a new generation coming up with, administration coming up next year, whether same people or what, but it's a new, okay? You should have somebody in-house that comes up with things that would better the recreation department, okay? I don't know what happened to can you tell me what happened to the trailer, the park that was supposed to be built out there? What, that went under? I'm just asking. I know,
RV park.
yeah, the RV park. Is it still alive or it's dead?
I'm assuming.
It's still alive?
I'm assuming it's still alive.
I can tell you, I got a call from the Monk brothers. I don't know, I forgot who it was, monks or whatever. they representatives and start talking to me. I said, look, sir, I don't know nothing about that. You talk to somebody else. But we were told to call you. I said, well, they told you a lie, because I don't know anything about it. But I thought that was one of the biggest things that it would have shown off, enhanced the parks. So, but I'm just saying, in the future, maybe we need to look at having somebody, and even just for the city. Instead of going to an architect every time, just like we got an engineer for the city. Tim, I'm not trying to pawn on you, but I'm just saying.
Architecture.
All right, good. And, you know, you can have this jacket when we talk. We finish. Elizabeth, if we can get an engineer, why can't we get an architect? Most cities have architects.
I think we rode this horse enough.
Well, I mean, you can ride the horse till it dies, but the fact of the matter is still the same. Every time we need an architect, we gotta go find one.
Chairman, call the question, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Everything was gonna be here.
Any other discussion items for the Recreation Committee recess?
Thank you for taking Mr. Primo's place. Zoning and Annexation Committee, Mr. Goldman is not here. That would be Mr. Martin.
Yeah, thank you. All right, zoning and annexation committee, we talked to, thank you. Yeah, I gotta get used to that. All right, open, let's see, we do have a quorum, yes, we do. Yes, we have a quorum, okay. First report, city engineer Tim Mader.
I have my written report in your hands, no action.
Okay. Any questions for Tim? Okay, thank you, Tim. All right, action item upon the favorable recommendation of the City of Crowley Planning Commission to consider approving the application for to re-subdivide the property as shown on preliminary and final plat showing 4.170 acres situated in section 33, township 9 south, range 1 east in Acadia Parish, shown as tract 8 in the city of Crowley, Acadia Parish. I don't know if we separated. Upon the favorable recommendation of the city, of Crowley Planning Commission to consider approving the application to re-subdivide the property as shown on preliminary, once again, plat showing no, this two different ones, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's
I'm
correct.
sorry. All right, so with,
The first one, you just called.
well, I don't understand, there's no question, I mean, they just mentioned, are we to vote on this?
Yes. you
Okay,
did.
well, I guess somebody offered the first one.
Yes, sir, you need to offer the first.
Well, I'm offering it for a vote,
Second.
offered and second, okay, all in favor?
You want us to
Mr. Chair,
discuss?
Yeah.
just to
I'm
let
sorry.
you know, it's okay, just to let, on your plat, it shows where that particular area is, next to the north side Assembly Church.
Okay. Okay, thank you, but for future, just
What we,
refer to plat would be,
Yes.
good. All right, thank you.
with,
All right, all in favor, pose that the same right? Any discussion on it?
Wait.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kim?
discussion.
The first one is Dixie Field, and the second one is by the church, correct?
The
Oh, I flipped it, okay, all right.
plat is like that, but it's reversed.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, let's see.
You
Did you
have
vote on
a
it?
you have a motion and a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion left? We good with that? Okay, the second one, upon the favorable recommendation of the City of Crowley Planning Commission to consider approving the application to re-subdivide the property as shown as preliminary and final plat showing 2.246 acres situated in section 43, township 9, south range 1 east in Acadia Parish, shown as lot 5-8 in the city of Crowley, Acadia Parish. Motion, okay, motion's approved. Well, I'll go ahead and
Right.
I'm still trying to, let's go ahead.
I'll help you.
Yeah, all right, because,
Motion, go ahead, make a motion.
but what I'm saying is this, Mayor, I think we need to have something in here
With the
where,
plat. I'll explain whenever you.
well, I'm just saying in the reading, to refer to.
I know, I'll go, Mr. Martin, ask for the motion and discussion.
Okay, all right, motion,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Discussion.
All right, discussion, okay.
Okay, now I'll take it. All right, so it's on the plan, and this particular area, like Mr. Fellow said, it's a Dixie Field. That's Mr. Bratton's property, which is located along Oddfellow Road. And there is,
No.
sorry, I see, it is Rice Capital Parkway, I'm sorry, but I did have the property name, the owner of the property, correct? And, but anyway, that's where it's located. And there's no physical address possible because it's being subdivided as we're speaking. So all I can do is tell you that it is at Rice Capital Parkway.
Chair, I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm still trying to see.
We do have someone here, I don't know if they want to speak about it, or,
There's a couple, yeah.
yeah, there are a few people
Mr.
here.
John.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm John O'Reilly. I'm John O'Reilly. I'm the realtor for the Bratton family. And this particular piece of property that we're looking for re-subdividing is on the north side of Rice Capital Parkway towards the gully. It's not on the gully. It's off the gully about 180 feet to the west. And the development is supposedly to be a medical, some sort of medical office. Any questions? I really got all I know.
Anybody got any questions on that? Because I'm confused. Oh, so it's on the what property is it?
It's on Rice Capital Parkway,
And who owns the property?
the Bratton family.
Bratton family.
Right
Okay,
now.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, anybody got any questions?
Mr. Landry's also here, who represents the medical.
Just for clarification, as far as where the property is, it's on Rice Capital Parkway on the north side. It's immediately adjacent to the property from the new FSA office, if you're familiar with that.
Well,
So
I'm
it's
not.
immediately to the east of that
You know what the
property.
new fee zones?
Yeah, so in other words, they building out the service road.
Right.
Oh, why they can't be in here, it's on the service road? I mean, come on, man.
Okay?
We only have one service road, and people are asking, why the hell y'all done that? But anyway, it is what it is.
All right.
Okay, all right, we're good with that, thank you, Randy. Mr. Landry?
Now,
Hold on, I just have to clarify where it was.
okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Landry. Now, vote.
All right, where we at with this? Okay,
Now you have to vote on it.
yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, have the same right? Motion carries. Okay, okay, well, here we go, to discuss what definition of medical facility zone C3 relates to.
That's good.
Might as well get back up here, Blake, because this, you need to explain this.
Yes.
Jesus.
Actually, I wasn't sure that item was gonna be discussed today as
Oh,
far as
yeah.
that particular issue, but just to clarify what the potential issue is. It's a group of physicians that are looking to open a medical facility there. We got here, they expand at some point in time, and they have more than one physician's practice. In the definition section of the zoning ordinance, they have a definition for a medical treatment facility. This property is zoned C3. C3 allows for a medical treatment facility. But the definition of a medical treatment facility,
No, you're okay? You can leave it up.
Good.
Leave it up. Yes, sir.
So the definition in the zoning ordinance of a medical treatment facility is essentially a facility that has 3 physicians or less and 3, for example, nurses, nurse practitioners, PAs or less. I don't know what the intent was. I don't know if it's just antiquated or if perhaps the intent was that it would apply more appropriately to someplace that was doing like outpatient procedures. But it's ambiguous enough, and vague enough that it creates a little concern. We want to make sure that, whatever their future plans are for this property, they're going to be able to conduct out here. There's a number of different ways we could address it. I guess it could be addressed by changing that definition, by amending the ordinance. It could be conditional use or special permit. It could be by variance, or it could be by zoning. In speaking with the owners of the property, I think the route that they may want to go with is to zone all or a portion of that property like a mixed-use zone and have M1 and C3. And obviously that would be an issue for another day. but I think that's possibly where we're headed.
Smart.
Okay. Mr. Landon,
Yes.
if you leave it C3, that covers that. Okay? So I was thinking, when you're going with M, which stands for medical, that means, I'm sorry.
Ms. Martin, if I could. Now.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
C3, as Ms. Landry pointed out, the ordinance in C3 is limited to how many positions whenever they build a facility. But what can happen in this case, also I must add, is that the person will have to go back and either apply for a variance or a conditional use. And the conditional use could be utilized for that particular position once the council authorizes a conditional use. It will have to go back again. The only thing that we're voting on, and thank you, Mr. Landry, for explaining that, the only thing we're voting on today is just to re-subdivide. Then this owner would have to go back to the planning commission to file a conditional use to be able to get that done with that property, and then bring it back to the council again.
That's my understanding as well.
Yes,
Okay, with that being said, I agree with you 100%. This discussion item never should have been on here. Okay? Just, and I'm not knocking about it, but I mean, it is what it is. If you didn't want to learn, because I just learned something, I've been in the house and building business for years. I did not know that you can build a medical facility, a physician-owned, this will be a physician-owned medical facility, right? It won't be associated with Oshner's or anything like that. It'd be,
Not that I'm aware of.
okay, well, the reason why I'm asking that, because basically, you just, and I appreciate going to school with this, because I just learned something. So you telling me M3, only thing they can, C3, how do you know how many doctors they got in there? I'm just asking the question, you know? You building a facility. Kim, you the medical, can you explain that? I mean, I don't know.
we've done years ago.
Well, can we do this? Can we do this? Why don't we zone at C1?
Well, C3 includes C1.
But I'm just saying, I'm just using, you know, so you want to be zoned for a specific need that later on might exceed what you're building for as of right now.
Right.
Man, that's more complicated than a $15 bill. Come on.
Like but for example, so it provides for a medical treatment facility. One of the things that they list under medical treatment facility. So my initial thought is when I looked at that, okay, a medical treatment facility is different from a doctor's office. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe medical treatment facility is meant to apply to a situation where you're doing outpatient procedures of some sort.
Okay.
However, it lists among those things that are medical treatment facilities is physical therapists. Physical therapists don't do any procedures.
No.
So it doesn't seem to be, that doesn't seem to be the intent of the
Well, can we do this?
So the concern simply is as they're, right now, they have 4 doctors in their practice.
That's what I'm saying, so now,
So
I'm
if it
sure
applies-
somebody gonna wanna come to crowd.
If it applies to a doctor's office, they couldn't do it there. And so, they're gonna make a substantial investment in that property, in that development in the city of Crowley. And we wanna make sure that they don't get forced off the rails at some point.
There you go.
We're trying to get out ahead of the issue.
Right, so you got one doctor more, chief gotta go ahead and throw you out. You gotta either fire that doctor.
Right.
Man, is there any way you can get with Tom and let him come up with some type of, that would cover all these bases?
We did talk about that, and that's what I was just saying.
Okay.
So if each person will be treated individually, right?
Well, that's what I'm
So
saying.
that's what I'm getting at. So the property owner would be opening up this office, doctor's office, a
Right.
medical treatment facility, would be no different than anybody else. But what I'm getting at is what we're voting on tonight is a subdivide, right?
That's actually.
So then they would actually, no matter what they did,
They gotta go
whether
from-
they do a variance or a conditional use or whatever, they gotta come back again.
Okay.
And I would, this is just me, I think for each particular individual business, a conditional use is the best way to go. Because the conditional use also stays with the owner of the property.
Once
Instead of
again.
being sold.
Correct.
And
But I
that's
think,
just my opinion, but I'm not the property owner, and I'm not the attorney.
well, I'm advance over to Brad. Y'all sold any facilities like that?
We have recently sold a piece of property, commercial zoning intended for medical use. And as the mayor indicated, the conditional use permit would be.
Applies to each one of the buildings, not each one office.
That would, well, for the property itself, that would be probably the fastest way of getting things done, and then, as a council, we can come back and maybe amend.
Yes, okay, amend.
Which will require a public hearing and more time,
That is
public
correct.
notice. So that might be something we want to work on, but
Right.
in the interim, the conditional use permit.
Okay, I think that would be, because conditional use means exactly what it is, condition on what you want. Because listen, being a property owner, one thing you don't want to be subjected to, when we allow you to use it, you understand, now you can't come back and get it. So guess what? They gonna move from your property, move next door, because they went got a conditional use, and you stuck with just, whether it's R1, R3, whatever, C1, whatever. So, what I would ask this council, well, Mayor, if Tom, I know Tom, had a lot on his plate, but if, I want to satisfy the owner of the property.
And he will be.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, man? Because if you satisfy the owner of the property, then it's that owner's responsibility to let our tenants know, well, look, this is what my property can do, such and such and such. And if I want to change, like Brad said, the mayor said, well, now they got to come back over here for, amendment or what have you. But I wouldn't want it to be like, let's just say, for a medical facility, and somebody might want to decide to open up a retail store. Okay, they still got to come in front of us.
Mr. Martin,
Yeah.
Mr. Landry can put all the language down that's necessary for the owner of what he's requesting, and to do that conditional use, so that way we can move forward a lot quicker.
Well, I'm thinking of the landowner, because, they selling their property, by what can be done on it, whether it's, if you're in the residential, you can only build a house here. So that's it. So basically, what we're voting on tonight is, we'll be voting on to subdivide.
Just re-subdivide.
All right, I guess we'll be seeing you again. And somebody gonna be billed for that, and it won't be us. All right, thank you. Let's see. I think that's all, to come before zoning and annexation. Any questions? Anybody? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Didn't get a vote.
No, it was a discussion item.
It was under discussion, so now you got to vote. Oh, wait.
Yeah, we had a discussion item.
Yeah.
Yeah, we voted on the action item. This was just a discussion.
Yeah, that was just discussion, that's correct.
Okay, we're good. All right, anything else before zoning and annexation? Nobody got no property want to sell, they just saying? I'm just asking, now it's time to get a rezone. We're gonna recess.
Thank you. Next, public safety, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I begin, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence as an expression of the council's condolences regarding the recent death of former Crowley Police Chief and friend, alias. Thank you, rest in peace.
Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to open the Public Safety Committee. We have a quorum present. Mr. Stephen Primo is absent. The reports will begin with Chief of Police, Chief Broussard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the month of September, Crowley Police responded to 795 calls for service. 93 citations were issued in the city during the month of September, with 33 of those being traffic citations. 118 TED tickets with 129 violations were written in the month of September, and 29 other criminal citations were issued. Our Narcotics Division had 10 arrests in the month of September. The Criminal Investigations Division received 72 cases in the month of September. Out of these, 16 were closed, 1 is pending the signature of a judge on a warrant, and 12 were suspended. We are down only 5 patrol officers now. We're able to hire a couple. However, we are looking at hiring another 2 very soon, so that should leave us only 3 now. We are still awaiting the arrival of ARPA funds for purchase of in-car systems and reporting systems. Laptops for the units have been ordered and should be in soon. Promotions will be taking place in the near future for 3 lieutenant positions, 3 sergeant positions, and 3 corporal positions. Crowley Police participated in the Kids Day downtown, where Safety Club was present for the youngsters. We also will be participating in Ross Head Start next week for a presentation by Fire and Police. And Safety Club and myself will be visiting the Head Start on Halloween Day to talk about trick-or-treat safety. Speaking of trick-or-treat, it's officially announced in this committee meeting that trick-or-treat on the streets of the city of Crowley for the discussion approval of the mayor and I will be 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Halloween night. And that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions, Chief Broussard? Mr. Martin.
Okay, Chief, 5:30 to 7:30. The reason why I'm asking that, because, when we get to public buildings, I'm going to request something for Halloween. And basically right now, everybody knows what's going on the streets. And I'm scared to death of that fentanyl or whatever. If you want to get back at a family, I hate to say it, but most of them try and get back on the kids. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like the idea of kids going door to door, but safety first. I'm trying to, and I will, do a safety type place, somewhere they can come in and, get canned in, and I'll be asking at the time we get public buildings for the use of the MLK Center to do this. It'd be a citywide thing. But I just want to reiterate, I was in Lake Charles the other day, and one of the guys were talking about Halloween, and he was saying that there's Facebook or whatever, we'll get the kids on Halloween. We may not get you, but we'll get your kids. Okay? Now, we don't know what that means. I'm hoping that it ain't got the crowd, because I think Facebook travel wherever it travels. But when somebody tells me that they're going to get my kids, that automatically put me in the mode to say, well, I'm going to get you first. I'm going to find out who you are. Get the IP address of them. And if it's a joke, well, get arrested for terrorism or what have you. But when somebody tells you they're going to get your kids, you do everything in your power to protect them, kids or grandkids. But it's about to get dark already. And we're going to let them pick what they want to do. But we'll talk about it. That's what I just want to talk about. If we talk about this fitness is crazy.
And you're right, Mr. Martin, it is, it's a very dangerous thing in the city. However, when the mayor and I discussed it, it actually is going to work out good because the Nightmare on Mill Street starts at 5, so they'll have a half an hour prior to going onto the streets for trick-or-treating. And Nightmare on Elm Street ends at 7, so if they're at the Nightmare on Elm Street and they still wish, they still have a half an hour to trick-or-treat on the streets afterwards. So
I say it all the time, Elm Street.
Mill Street.
I say it all the time.
I apologize. I know, I'm sorry, 80s movies.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions for Chief Broussard? And we'll move on to item number 2, a report from Fire Chief Lewis Romero. And I think everyone has Chief Romero's report.
Good afternoon. For September, we ran 48 fire calls. Of those 48 fire calls, we had one structure fire was out of town. I think it was in District 11 that we were called out for mutual aid. We had 9 fire alarms, 16 EMS calls. We assisted the PD one time. 4 hazmat calls, 3 vehicle accidents, 11 public assists, 3 trash fires, for a total response time average of 3 minutes, 11 seconds. And so far, from 2022, we ran 422 calls. Any questions on the call?
I got one, Chief.
Give you a little update. Yes, sir.
I had someone, I guess one of your trucks was head down 90 or what anyway. I said, what the Crowley trucks doing head? I said, well, they got a thing they call mutual aid. I said mutual aid. Can you explain to everybody that's listening exactly what the mutual aid call consists of? Because I tried to explain to them, I said, well, the cities, we have an MOU with other cities, that if something happened, they need help, and they brought up the fire that was in Lafayette where they say they had trucks from Karen Crow and Youngsville and all that. So I called the guy back up. I said, did you watch the news? He said, what news? I said, well, I'm finished with it. But anyway, can you explain what mutual aid means?
One of the local fire departments around needs assistance, either with manpower, a tower truck, another engine, whatever. We go out and help them for rice mills, for pack, for one of the big house fires we had 3 or 4 years ago. We called in District 11 to come help us.
Well, I remember the pack fire. That was, they had more trucks lined up.
Pack the whole parish.
Exactly. Right, so
that's what it's called mutual aid.
okay, but that's another, MOU has no payment on that, or just mutual aid, correct? So in other words, you got my back, I got yours.
The mayor signs an agreement once a year, along with the fire chief. And then like District 11, the board and the president of the board and the fire chief arranged to be the mayor and the fire chief. Depends who governs
All right.
that fire department.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's, I got it now. Appreciate it.
So, update on the fire station, the hood was complete today. So all we're waiting on now is the commercial sinks and the tables to go in the kitchen. Kids Day we participated in, we gave out Little Debbie's and soft drinks, gave the kids a lot of sugars and home with their parents. And we will be participating on Mill Street, fire department will be doing hot dogs and probably popcorn.
Yes, Mayor.
I just want to say, Chief, thank you for all your hard work and the people and the contractors. I went by yesterday and went to visit the fire station. It really looks great. Looks good. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you, Chief, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief Broussard, thank you.
At this time, I'd like to move to the discussion item, and we have three gentlemen here from out of town representing Blue Line Safety Solutions, and Mr. G. Dalrymple is ready to give us a presentation.
Good evening. Good afternoon. My name is Mark Hutchinson, and Jay is with me back here. I own a company called Blue Line Solutions out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we are an automated photo speed company that focuses primarily in school zones, construction zones. When I'm a former police officer from Tennessee, you know where the Bristol NASCAR Raceway is.
Was there last week?
Oh, yeah, okay, so that's where I grew up, and I was deputy chief up there. And when I was young in my career, I was on patrol one day and came upon a crash. I wasn't dispatched to it, I just happened upon it. And to make a long, gruesome story short, there was a little boy in that crash that was 10 years old, his name was Matthew. And I was 19 at the time, and I ran down to the car, and I rendered aid to Matthew and tried to keep him alive long enough for the paramedics to get there, but the little boy died in my arms before the paramedics got there. That impacted me quite a bit, and I soon realized, as I was learning to have to deal with that in the weeks and months ahead, that everything that I was doing as a police officer on a daily basis was reactive. I was reacting to a domestic, I was reacting to a burglary, I was reacting. And I realized that the only thing that I could do as a police officer that was proactive to keep people from dying was traffic enforcement. And that's the ability to stop the dying before it happens through stopping people and for speeding or DUI or so forth. So I made traffic safety my life's work. And after I left law enforcement proper, I went to the governor's office of highway safety in Tennessee as a law enforcement liaison, to the governor's office in Georgia as a law enforcement coordinator for the state, and then back to the Tennessee governor's office as a law enforcement administrator. And in 2000, we started a little program that you might have heard of called Click Your Ticket. And the first thing that we did in Click Your Ticket was we captured data. We started we started sitting at intersections and watching people drive by and marking down whether they were wearing seatbelts or not. And every state in the United States did this, including Louisiana. And that's how we got the baseline usage rate for the state. Following that, we started sending out brochures and pamphlets to pediatricians' offices and health departments as part of a new public information and education campaign. I'll call that PID. And the message in the PID was seatbelts save lives, Click Your Ticket. And it was marketed to, if you will, parents, but primarily women, because obviously they are the ones that are more maternal with children usually on a daily basis. And then following that, we started giving police departments the banners, the click your ticket banners that you've seen up for years on buildings and so forth. And then we started seeing commercials come on TV that said, in 2 weeks, law enforcement's going to be out, click your ticket. Well, all of that stuff is public information education. Following that, the commercials, law enforcement would get out and do 2 weeks of enforcement. And then following that, we would get back out in the road and watch people drive by, do seatbelt surveys to see if the seatbelt usage rate increased. The reason I bring up that program is it's 22 years old this year, and it's been a very successful program. So when I started this program, dealing with school zones, I wanted to follow a model that has worked. So the first thing that we do in this automated speed enforcement program is to capture data in your school zones to see if there is a problem. And if there is a problem, how big the problem is. So after talking with the chief, and that was Mr. Dale Rimple, who's with me, we were given the opportunity to conduct some speed studies in your school zones. And that's just a matter of putting a little radar device on a pole, leaving it there for 5 days. And then we parse that data by 7 to 9, 9 to 2, and then 2 to 4. That's when the lights are flashing in the morning, throughout the day, and then the lights are flashing in the afternoon. So I just want to share with you this data. Ross Elementary School on W. Hutchinson, I think that's a really good, West Hutchinson, really good name, by the way. There was 4,961 vehicles that traveled through that 5-day period. Now, we define a speeder as someone who's driving above 10 miles an hour above the speed limit. Okay, so it's not 1 over, it's at least 10 over. In that 5-day period, there was 1,499 speeding violators. And so if we multiply that by 4 weeks, that's what, 6,000 speeding vehicles above 10 miles an hour in that one school zone. Next, we will go to Crowley Kindergarten. That's on North Parkerson Avenue. There was 36,475 vehicles traveling through, and 4,209 were speeding above the speed limit. And that is a little over 28% of the traffic there. Incidentally, let's see, 1,081 of those were going 15 to 20 miles an hour over the speed limit as well. On Notre Dame High, on Northeastern Avenue, 11,167 cars came through and 2,551. So about 10,000 cars throughout the month. And 1,091 of those were going 15 to 20, and 312 of those were going above 15 miles an hour above the speed limit. And then Crowley Middle School on West Northern Avenue, 13,877 vehicles passed through, 4,816 were traveling above 10 miles an hour above the speed limit. And 643 were going 21 and above the speed limit. And 2,273 were going 15 to 20. I do have one more here. Ross Head Start at Northwestern Avenue. This was not split out into morning flashers, day and afternoon flashers, because the speed limit stays the same all the time. So there was 23,336 vehicles that came through. 16,637 vehicles were traveling at 10 and above the speed limit, which is 71.29%. Incidentally, 7,006 of those were going 15 to 20 miles an hour above the speed limit, and 2,091 were going 15 and above the speed limit. So the first thing that we ask ourselves, is there a speeding problem in our school zones? And I would think everybody would say yes. And we see this from community to community. People just don't realize how many people there are speeding out there. So the way that our program works, number one, it doesn't cost you a dime. It will never be any cost to our program. And the way that we do that is we provide the camera equipment, we provide everything and all the processing services. And for the citations that are paid, we share the revenue with the city, 40% to Blue Line, 60% to the city. Now let's assume for a moment that we issue citations and absolutely nobody pays. The city that still has no cost. Blue Line eats all the costs. So there will literally never be a cost to the city at all. Additionally, you might be familiar with the radar signs that show you your speed as you drive toward them. Well, we provide those as well. And here's the idea with that. The law states that there must be signage within 300 to 600 feet from the enforcement. So that's state required. Next, we propose that we place this radar speed sign telling the driver how fast they're going before they see the flashing lights. And then we give them 10 miles an hour above the speed limit before they get a citation. It's hard to be any more transparent and fair to a speeder than that. So this program is not about hiding in the woods or hiding behind a shrub and with a radar sign. It's about being very transparent to the community. And we like to partner with the school systems, the police department, and the city to share this information ahead of the program. So what we like to do is work with the school system to send this data out to the community, to the parents, and let them know the problem. Because if the parents understand what the data that I just showed you or shared with you, I believe everybody would agree they would want something done, right? That's what we call political permission. Instead of us saying, we're going to put cameras in the school zones, we're going to do this and that, we say, here's the problem. And the community says, you need to do something about it, because it's not a matter of if somebody is going to be killed, it's a matter of when, especially a child. South Fulton, Georgia was unfortunate enough to name their ordinance the Renaya Majors school safety zone ordinance after the 10-year-old Renaya Major who was killed in that school zone. And our goal is to strive for zero. Zero crashes, zero injuries, zero fatalities. Now, everything that you've heard about photo speed companies up to this night has been about writing tickets and how much money can the city make. Look at New Orleans or Baton Rouge or any of the rest of them. But in Georgia, we have several hundred cameras up in that state. We have a 94.9% reduction in speeders now versus the program. I sat with the mayor of Shreveport yesterday and shared with him their data in phase 1 of their program. Without writing the first ticket, just from the public information education, they've had a 93% reduction in speeders in their school zones. So I usually ask this question. Like, there are companies out there that are owned by the stock market, right? And if the stockholders had a CEO that reduced their revenue by 93%, what would they do to that CEO? They would can him, right? But that's what we do. And it's because we're mission-based, not revenue-based. And we have plenty of references to give you all over the country to share their information with you that shows you just that. So that's just the quick down and dirty in 12 minutes on our program. I tried to be brief, and I know I left a lot out, but I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
There? Yes, sir. Is it possible that I could get a copy of your contract so that I could let our legal team look at it, please?
Absolutely. And we also know that just about every attorney wants to change something in it. So we're very amenable to that. I will tell you that we are a very transparent and open company. I'm the owner, and I've spent most of my years in government, well, all my years in of government, actually before starting this company, so we're well accustomed.
Have you done it with the Katy Fair School Board yet?
We have not.
Okay.
But if this is something that the council is interested in pursuing, that would be something that we would like to do, is to speak with the superintendent first and then potentially the school board.
Of course, I'm not speaking for the council, but if you could, please speak to the Katy Fair School Board, and if I could get a copy of that contract.
Absolutely.
And I think also you have a copy of a draft ordinance within the packet, and everyone has one of these in their mailbox that say, if you're under something,
I didn't get one. That's okay. I'll get it.
Okay, good. Straight call first.
I just have a quick question. Do you only do school zones?
No, ma'am. We focus primarily on school zones, for obvious reasons for the children. We do work in construction zones and elsewhere as well. We have 3 platforms. One is a handheld laser that an officer can use that has a camera on the side of it. And when the officer uses it, it's just like a regular camera. It captures an image. But let's say the officer catches 5 in a row. And then when somebody comes past him or her at 20 miles over, they stop. They're like, no, I want to go get that guy, right? So they pull them over, and let's say, for instance, the person they pulled over has $100,000 in cash and a bunch of drugs. The first thing when the officer takes that case to court, that the defense attorney will try to attack is the probable cause for the stop. Well, in this case, the probable cause is in color. And it actually makes those cases even stronger, even though it has ultimately nothing to do with our program, right, other than they use the equipment. So then we have trailers that can be placed pretty much anywhere and moved around. And then we have the stationary cameras that are primarily used in schools.
See Bruce.
I will let the council know, I mean, we've been working on this for probably about a year before we brought it to council. You know, you've heard how short-handed we are, so we have to learn how to police more efficiently with less numbers. And I think what I liked so much about this program was it wasn't that, oh, we're going out to write tickets and to, to cite people. In fact, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, they do public presentations like this, but to groups if they want, to explain the program, to explain, because the goal is to get people to slow down in the school zone. It's not to give tickets. It's not to cite. So.
Yes, sir. The less tickets we write, the less revenue the company makes, right? And we understand that, but that's the mission of the company. That's the mission of the program. So we have company-wide about a 94% reduction among all the programs that we have nationwide. And on your 4 lanes, you'll generally see a little bit less because it's more transient traffic that may not know the cameras are there. Where on the 2 lanes, we do spend a lot of time, as the chief said, sending information to the community. In Shreveport, for instance, we've had over 25 news stories out about this program before it ever started. We went to community events, business events, PTOs, churches, and so forth, and shared the data with them and about the program, about the information about the program is coming. So the PID component is a very big part of this program.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
You cite the vehicle owner, not the driver.
Yes, sir, that's a good point. Now, I'm glad you brought that up, so let me explain that. These citations are civil in nature. They're not a quote traffic violation, which means that just like a toll booth that you would go through, and if you for some reason didn't pay your toll, you get a little ticket in the mail that goes to the owner. Same way for a handicap parking violation. If you park your car in a handicap zone, that ticket goes on the car. So these citations, being civil in nature, do not go on the person's driver's license. They do not go on the insurance. And we suggest that when the ordinance is drafted for the program, that the fines be made cheaper than if an officer wrote them. Again, for transparency, this is not about making money, it's about safety. So if the person gets a ticket in the mail and complains to the chief or the mayor, you can say, it didn't go on your driver's license, it didn't go on your insurance, and if the officer had written, it would have been this much more. So it's a win-win-win. Also, to that point, when you rent a car from Hertz or wherever, and you don't pay your toll booth, that ticket goes to Hertz, right, the rental company. They transfer that liability to whoever rented the car, and that's what we call a transfer of liability. So in Louisiana, because you're a home rule state, your ordinance can include a transfer of liability through which a person could look on the back of the citation and see, for instance, Jay was driving my car, I got the ticket in the mail, right? So I can look on the back of the citation. If I follow the instructions, I will go to a website, pull down a form, list him as the driver on the form because it's an affidavit that has to be notarized, and I send it in to the company. And then based on that affidavit, we reissue the citation in his name. So there is a mechanism there for those type of things as well. We were in Bossier City yesterday, who's looking at this program as well, and the chief administrative officer had paid her son's ticket from Shreveport yesterday morning. And she was grateful because it was an opportunity for her to talk to her son instead of it going on his license and her insurance. So if we think about those things, it does make sense. Hope I answered your question.
Okay, what is the revenue division?
Okay, so from the company standpoint and the city standpoint, it's generally 40% to the company, 60% to the city. Now, one of the differences between this and a regular handwritten ticket is a handwritten ticket is a traffic infraction, and I guess by law, that money is split up between the DA's office and the judge's office and so forth.
Yeah, for verification, right?
Right. This fine, being civil in nature, comes back to the city, period. So it doesn't have to be split up, which would obviously do more for the city and potentially public safety here.
Okay, now, is this just for discussion, or is this for FYI, or is it for us to vote on?
Discussion, it's a discussion.
Well, how do we turn this discussion into an action item?
Once we gotta get Mr. Ray and the city attorney to review the contract, and then we'll move forward and make a recommendation to approve it.
Okay.
Engage the company once we get the legal aspect of it.
Okay.
Yes.
I've heard of this. How many cities and towns, villages are y'all in as of right now?
So currently we're remarkable that we're across the nation as far as our company is concerned, but as far as Louisiana is concerned, I'm the regional manager from Blue Line for Louisiana. And currently we started the program in 2020, which January, which that was not good timing. And it was pretty much sidelined for a while. But to bring a program to this actual state now, current programs that are in the state that you currently have that were, you may have heard of the Lafayette program, who's over there, everybody knows the man, right, who's out there. There's a lot of things that challenges I've overcome because we're the only program in the state actively doing a lot of main speed enforcement. We had a chance to learn from those programs out there, what not to do, if you will. Okay. Now, as far as getting them off the ground, currently we actually have three programs off the ground currently. We have Shreveport Police Department. We have another department, which you do know, Karen Crow, just down the highway here, and then all the way up north in Spring Hill. Now, the reason we only have 3 in the last 2 years is it takes a long time to get these programs, and it takes probably even longer because a lot of what we do is we handle everything from permit, right? DOTD, that's all us, right? We do every lift, really you're signing the paperwork, and the police department is approving the citations, right? They have to review those, so that's the only stuff they have. But as far as who we're going to be bringing into the state, I'm swallowed with pride on that because really everywhere I go, we're bringing in departments everywhere When it comes to this area down here around Lafayette, we're working with Bow Bridge, St. Martinville, New Iberia once before the end of the year. Scott, we would have done it, the numbers just weren't there, okay? Even going up north, Sunset, Franklin, just like you just keep naming departments. We just met with Alexandria, and they're wanting to move forward on this program.
Yeah, I know most of the guys in there.
Yeah, it's been taking off quite well. We're just, right now, I'd say we're probably in at least 7,500 departments.
So, but in the state, you're only 3 that you can
Three
qualify. right?
now, and then, yeah, so there are various stages that they're in, right? We meet with council members, you know, their council, we have to meet with the city, we have to do studies. There's about 8 trips. There's a lot of trips I've made to the city where you have I mean, we've been here several times to get to this point, and then I have still several more trips, right? Getting everything through, and of course, getting contracts and so forth. It's a lot of work that goes into these programs. We go real slow, because we want to make sure that we inform everyone along the way of a program that is a win-win-win.
Mayor, you have a question?
Yes, well, just a question and a comment, but anyway, mostly a comment. I would like for you to be able to meet with the Katy County School Board as soon as possible, because we do work in conjunction with the school board as much as possible.
Well, we would love to do so. In fact, not only would we like to meet with her, just myself, but we also have our PI&E individual that works directly with the city, with the police department, and with the school. We send out information through the school system, letting them know this comes as part of the program, which I'm squeezing a lot in here. But part of the program, even before we even put these in place, we do a warning period of 30 days. So we just don't put this thing out there. There's a lot that goes into this. Yes, sir. Just ensuring that we likely are taking this.
And also, just wanted to point out that we all, I'm sure, want to be very proactive with this, but I just want to make sure that everything, all of our T's across and our I's are dotted, and making sure that we're moving forward in the right direction.
Thank you. Absolutely. We'll try to make that happen within the next 30 days.
Mr. Keller had a question.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mark, this may be a question for you, but those numbers that you cited of vehicles that just went by, is that in that report?
We can send you the data.
Okay.
It's 5 different reports.
Okay.
And if I could get somebody's information.
You can get my email if you don't mind, send it to me, and then I'll forward it on to the council.
Okay, that'd be great. You'll also see different graphs and charts in there that'll show you which days of the week were worse and so forth. A lot of data about what.
Just also inform you, they are our publisher.
Oh,
They were
official journal.
Local newspaper, and he would love that information as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on. So y'all been talking to Mayor Brasso?
I'm sorry?
You say you went to Karen.
Karen, yes, sir.
Y'all been dealing with Mayor Brasso himself?
No, sir. We've dealt with Dave Anderson, the chief over there.
Yeah, chief?
Yeah, in fact, we had lunch with him today. We've had that program since March of last year. As you know, on the city streets, you don't have to deal with DOT. So we have the cameras up in Karen Crow since March on the city streets, and we're working with DOT, on the state routes. We're going through that permit process. So,
Well, if y'all need to put in a good word with Mayor Brasso, because eventually you gotta go to the council regardless.
That's right.
The chief doesn't run, the street. Now, Mayor, with your projection, you're talking to the school board. The school board doesn't own the street in the city of Crowley. That's our streets. Okay? Hold on, if I may, let me finish, okay? You making it like the school board has, no, school board does what we say do, okay? I'm having a problem with the situation right now that's going on with the school board, and it's being resolved. Matter of fact, me and Superintendent Reshaw met today, and we're going to meet again tomorrow. But the city of Crowley owns the streets of Crowley, okay? They only own the property. If we decide to use y'all and put y'all in front of that, but the question is, do y'all only do schools?
no, so we do, you can do enforcement anywhere in the state of Louisiana, minus the interstates.
Exactly. So state-owned roads, y'all can't do it.
Yes.
The DOTD has stand for it.
Yes.
Well, that's the same thing goes here. Our chief can do whatever his judicial responsibilities is,
Yes.
except to tell somebody, well, I can't close parks, and you understand, let's stay highway, okay? So what I'm saying is this, what you telling me right here, I travel all through this state, okay? And this is it's not my first time hearing of it, but I'm glad, Brad, whoever brought it up here, there's something right here that needs to be talked about. Now, I'm all in favor of one thing right here. You can't finish something until you start. And what you telling me is wouldn't charge a penny, not one penny to the city of Crowley. But what it would do, and you're 100% right, in front of that crosshair stuff, which his first lady, our first lady, works. I've seen people pass, and it's a stationary, whether it's in school or not, you break it down, okay? Now, this is the deal that I'm willing to propose, as far as my knowledge and the people that I wouldn't mind bringing this up, because believe it or not, I just started another organization, and I'll be talking to the council about it. It's not all this craziness, people say, well, and I'm using what it is, a Louisiana Municipal Black Caucus. Well, I started a group, it's a and you have to understand, it's a bipartisan group, okay, of elected officials, because we're gonna do what we call RED. You know what RED is? RED stands for Republican, Independent, and Democrat. We're getting rid of RED, okay? I had the biggest conversation with the DNC because I'm gonna make it clear, I am back in John Stefanski. And Byron will tell you, people that know me, I'm all over the state. So I'll be helping him. So with that being said, you gotta start somewhere. Now, Brad, you chair this.
And so that's what we gotta move forward and.
Well, it's just discussion. I mean, yeah, we're gonna do it, let's do it while.
Once we get the information, we can make an action item for next month's meeting.
Next month?
Yes.
Why you can't amend it to our full meeting?
Because our agenda has a, action item.
We don't have any information.
And we don't have, and then Mr. Reagan needs to review the documents.
Ray need to review it.
Well, we have to have an ordinance, there's some.
If he went through other cities, I'm pretty sure we can amend it where it in his.
Just so you know, I'll be on the census taking ordinances of those, Carrie or Campbell, you'll get all those.
Yeah, and of course, copy of the
Yes, sir.
Good. All right, we certainly appreciate the presentation and look forward to working with you soon.
Hope to see you next month.
Yes.
God bless you all.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your service.
Okay, now we move back to the agenda. City Inspector Tony Newman is not present. I believe that he had emailed his report to us. And under action items, we have approved application for retail beer and liquor permit for Gold 3 LLC. Chief, before we, don't run out just yet. For the liquor permit, I don't have here.
For Go 3 LLC?
Go 3 LLC.
Okay. It's still owned by the property is still owned.
And where is it located? I move it.
It's the former Go Cup.
Okay.
You'll come, this is cross I-10?
Yes. And it's the same owner of the property. It's just gonna be different proprietors, which we have run criminal history on them, and they came back clear.
Okay, and do we have any complaints
No.
about the facility you're concerned about?
None.
Okay.
Offered.
The motion is offered to approve this application to the full council. Do we have a second? Seconded by Alderman Ken Stringfellow. Further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? So moved. And that will complete the Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Cool. Next is Public Buildings, Mr. Woodridge.
Public Buildings Committee, we had a forum, the only one that was absent, Mr. Steve Primo. On the action items, there was none. On the discussion item, Councilman Morton, want to bring something up?
Okay, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Amend the agenda, please.
Oh, I forgot the discussion.
No, we don't get to get until after.
But it's not on the agenda, it's still got to amend the agenda.
I'm sorry.
Bring it
That's
back.
okay.
I made my agenda for a discussion item. going into, I guess, perhaps it's gonna be action item for Councilman Morton to bring up some information that he'd like to talk about. Second. It was second.
Mr. Willard, Ms. Kim? You okay with me? Yes. Mr. Core?
Yes.
Mr. Grader?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as y'all know, Billy Young's office is in charge of tourism. And we have, during the Rice Festival, we have a lot going on during the Rice Festival, you know, and there's pros and cons of the Rice Festival. I'm not gonna get into that, but one thing I will do is get in the pro side of it. First of all, it brings people from all over the world, from what I can understand. I mean, if you, I figure if you're across the world, if you're from Mississippi, I'm good with that. But anyway, it's the Sundays that I, okay. Most of your big festivals, Sunday is your biggest day. You understand what I'm saying? You got Road Bridge, Crawford Festival, Scott Festival, Wooded, whatever it may be. Except for the city of Crowley and while I'm pretty sure, probably all councilmen have been asked, why doesn't the festival come in on Sunday? Well, I told them, I said, well, we don't have any jurisdiction over that. It's not us, it's the Rice Festival Association. And I remember one of the factors was being, at the time, working at the assist agency with the incubator, as well as businesses downtown. Well, you can have it on Sunday, that means you gotta be clean for Monday, which we understand that. So anyway, for the last 3 years, I've been talking to different people and getting ideas. I went to a few workshops, and finally it came to me. I got a call from someone and said, "Hey man, we come to Crowley for your Rice Festival, but we're staying till Monday, but there's nothing to do afterwards. We go ride with it." I said, "Well, they have rides. They eventually got the rides. Okay, what do y'all have afterwards?" "Well, we don't have anything other than the rides." "Okay, that's Sunday." I was told that, first of all, what I was doing was impossible. I said it's nothing impossible if you got the finance and the time to do it. Okay? Well, this is what was going on. On that Sunday, I explained to them, I want to come up with something that will enhance the International Rice Festival. And it's going to get down to Reggie's committee as well, and I guess it transcends both of them, and recreation, to have something on that Sunday. And I wanted it to be something that people can look forward to from years and years from here on out. So that way they can stay that extra in the hotels. They can stay that extra, buying from, the vendors would have in the city of Crowley. And be free of charge for those doing the Rice Festival. When they break down their booths, most of them still have inventory left. Okay? I mean, it's up to them to sell what happened. So what I proposed was this. We go to the Martin Luther King's park. And I was open at the bathroom with you, but it is what it is. But the MOU that we got with the recreation department, I'm good with that. And I want to say that they honored that. It was a little snafu the other day, but they took care of it. I'm glad for that. And what I proposed, ladies and gentlemen, it sounded crazy. What you gonna call it? I said I'm gonna call it the Rice Dressing Festival. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but it is what it is. Because I was told, as long as you incorporate rice into it, I said, okay, I can do that. And the reason why it's a Rice Dressing Festival, because I have to say, they got some of the people in the city, and it's open to everybody. They cook the best rice dressing in the world. Everybody have their own recipe. Some of them go get resource, some get some boys, and I'm saying, trying to say this is, but it is what it is. With that, I prayed on it, and I said, you know what, God, if you're gonna do something, you might as well start the ball off yourself. So I personally will be financing this. We have it inside the park, so it's no other than the building for the restaurant, okay? It's gonna be outdoors. It's gonna be from 11 o'clock in the morning until the park's closed, but we're gonna shut it down. It's dark at that time, 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's time for you to go. And I don't know if the city wants to become a co-sponsor of it. That's really, because it's open to everybody. I don't care who you are. We're gonna feed everybody free of charge. We're gonna have drinks, no alcohol. I mean, if you wanna bring this on you, it's up to the police department to, because we're not gonna be looking at people saying you can't have that here. All right, we'll allow ice chests, we'll allow barbecue pits, just like a general picnic, okay? With the understanding that it's for the city of Crowley, okay? It's not for West Crowley, North Crowley, East Crowley, or South Crowley. It's for the city of Crowley. And with that being said, I'm asking this council to basically take part in it, whatever way, because we have time, and we also initiate part 2 of the Step Fest, which is, support our elected election participants. You want to come and talk, you understand, talk to the people, you have time to do that, okay? Only thing I would ask, I hope that, well, it's up to you whether you do it or not, that you chip in with the food and, whatever, you understand what I'm saying? But there's no charge for this. Last time we done the ground, how long y'all say, someone was up there for 5, someone for 10 minutes. Someone forgot what the hell it was there for, but it was having fun. And the door prizes, ladies and gentlemen, we gave door prizes every 15 minutes, and he'll tell you, it wasn't no cheap door prizes. I had toaster ovens and you name it, had designer bags, and, well, they say the design, now it is what it is, and stuff like that. But we had food for the kids and everybody. And this is going to be the weekend of the Rice Festival. All right, one person wanted to start it off on Friday. I said, nope, I'm not going to interfere with the Rice Festival in itself. I'm not trying to compete with the Rice Festival. I'm trying to enhance the Rice Festival, okay? With the understanding that, okay, if you come out there with any noise, well, we shut it down. All right? So that's where we at with that. And the other thing is with public buildings, understand there's a lot going on with the, whatever it is, Halloween night. But I'm planning on doing something that night at the MLK Center as well. We're going to invite all the kids, we got some kids, they're going to be greeted, they're going to go to all 3 events, stock up, which they can. And it'll be the same thing as it was before. The reason why Peter got up there and said it was 150 people, kids over there, because that boy did. Okay, I had people calling, we don't send our kids there, but if you can tell us that it's going to be you there, we're going to send it. Okay, we fed them out, we drank, we had door prizes, and it was spectacular. The kids behaved themselves, and it was nice. Okay, so that's where I'm at with this. That's going to be Halloween night. And the center going to be open that night regardless, but I'm going to make sure that everything is clean. And Peter said he did with him and with the day it would happen. But I just want to bring it to the attention of the council. Okay? I'm kids first. I want to make that clear to everybody. I'm tired of hearing about there's nothing for the kids to do, and that's the reason why we do sell drugs, so there's nothing to do. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with the price at all. So it's not germane to anything legal. You get caught, you go to jail. Then there's a place for it. Then you're gonna be wondering when I'm gonna get out. Okay? So anyway, that's where we are right now with public buildings, and if there's any questions about it, I'll be glad to answer this time.
Is there any question on what Councilman Martin just talked about? Yeah, I don't think the city got really too much to do with it, though.
Well, we agreed until the bathrooms are ready that they'll have the bathrooms open, and he's been holding to that. So I don't have any objection to what he want to do at the Rice Festival building. Not what we say south. What is the annex now? What do they call it? The Rover Show Annex? What do they call the park? The Rover Show Sports Complex. Because I know the restroom facilities. I was out there one day. Yes, it is bad. Okay. With that being said, any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Objections?
Councilman Martin, objection?
Concerns?
Concerns, opinion?
Yeah. So you think something else needs to go? I'm open for whatever suggestions that y'all may have. But with the understanding is for the kids, and it's the last, believe it or not, that 31st is the last weekend before election, if I'm not mistaken, right? When is the election?
November 8th.
8th? Okay, well, we're right there. So.
There'll be no many discussions,
Question, is this an event that be co-sponsored, yes, by the city, or that?
Well, if the city wants to, either way, it's gonna happen regardless. Okay, if I gotta finance it, so be it.
But as far as the building being available and so forth, we don't know that just yet.
Well, I mean, the building is open from, that morning until 8 o'clock at night, okay? So it's open to the public. And the only thing we're gonna do is invite the public in, decorate it, and clean up, you know?
And that would be for Sunday Fall Rice Festival, but you got.
Well, no, that's two different events. For the Rice Festival, I'm glad you brought it up. For the Rice Festival event, that's outdoors 100%. The reason why I said the bathrooms, the use of the building, because we acknowledge already that it has been determined that until those bathrooms are finished, that the bathrooms would be available to everyone, you know, during the weekend, okay, especially for events, okay? So the other one, the building is open to the public. This is open to everybody, okay? There's no cover charge or what have you. Only thing we're doing is decorating and making it, you know, Halloween, as they say. I don't know if that's a word or not, but Halloween is what I'm gonna use, you know? The cost, I'll be honest with you, just candy alone will cost me about $3,000. You know, candy. I don't know what the hell they're putting in candy these days, but it's unreal. But, you know, we're gonna make it, and we're gonna try and enhance what's going on downtown. Some kids may not be able to make it at that time, if their parents might be to work. Okay, well, this is gonna give them a chance to come out until 8 o'clock at night, okay? Everything is over at 5. What time they say at Halloween end? It's 5:30, what time? 7:30. Okay, while they, because we're not gonna feed until right at 7:30. You see what I'm saying? So they're out there getting candy and everything, we're gonna have them a meal for them to take home. Because it's gonna be bagged and ready to go. It's no hanging out. Take your bag and, just like with the skate. They knew, you got 7:30, get your skates off, get your bag, call them out the door prizes, and they're out of here. So that's all it is, okay? And we clean up from that point on.
That night, all you actually is roofs of the MIK Center from the city.
What?
Public building, I mean.
No, sir, that's illegal. You cannot lease it.
No, we're just trying, wait, hold on, wait.
You made a public location, that's no waiting.
I'm saying, the use it, I guess, that's what I said. Somebody got approved.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about it.
Seven.
Okay.
This is ethical, it's legal,
Thank you.
it's during working hours, there's no cover charge.
During the day.
It's during operable hours, it's open to the public, therefore there's no action required for co-sponsorship or anything. It's during normal operating hours of the center.
Okay.
So, okay.
Do what?
All I needed.
Wait, you have a question about 15 minutes?
What are we talking about?
What are we doing?
This is the Halloween event, correct?
Yes, yeah, you know what?
October 31st.
Yes.
Right.
What are we talking about? Oh, shit.
Everything's a go, so I'm about to. Is there
Thank
any
you, Peter.
discussion from the public? That being done, public goes at recess.
Thank you. Next is insurance and personnel. Ms. Trisella.
Thank you, Mayor. The Insurance and Personnel Committee will convene. We do have a quorum. There are no action items. Does anyone have any discussion items? Anything from the audience? And we will recess.
Thank you. Next, community and economic development. Mr. Reggie.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have a quorum with all present. I will start my report off first with the Main Street Director. She's present, so she'll give a report.
Waiting patient.
Push button.
Yes, very good.
I just wanted to stop in and give a few updates and thank yous. We most recently had Kids Day a few weeks ago. I think the event went really well. The turnout was great. We were able to know that we have communities represented all the way from River Ridge, Youngsville to Lake Charles. So it was neat to see so many different communities represented here in Crowley that Saturday, and International Rice Festival doing the Rice and Gravy Cook-Off, made for just a fun day in Crowley. We will be participating in Nightmare on Mill Street with the city, so we're looking forward to that at the end of the month. Taste of Crowley will be November 10th, so that's coming up soon, and tickets will go live next week. We have, I spoke to some of y'all about the transformation strategies pilot project that Louisiana Main Street is putting on. They were accepting applications and they were choosing 4 communities to be a part of this pilot project where they work with the Main Street District and the city. And I'm pleased to announce that Crowley has been accepted for that. So they came, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be great for moving forward, me as a new director, for our board and for multiple organizations to begin working together. I'm a little close knitted as we move forward. They will provide market analysis, community surveys, and we'll get some great feedback from the community and be able to come up with some strategies as far as moving forward and hopefully stay on task with those. So I'm excited for that. Next, we do have Federal Homeland Bank of Dallas. They do a partnership grant program. First National Bank of Louisiana applied to partner with Crowley Main Street, and they were accepted. So tomorrow we are having our grant presentation at First National Bank at noon, so anyone is welcome for that. It was a 3-to-1 matching grant, totaling $16,000. So that grant goes to continue to fund the facade grant that we offer to Main Street businesses and building owners, as well as gives us an opportunity to maybe create another grant opportunity for the district. But I just wanted to say thank you for your letters of support. Thank you for the city and co-sponsoring our events. I think it went over well, can say, and we're looking forward to the next one.
Yes, we are too. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Your efforts.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. I'll start with my other committees. With Garden Club, their next meeting will be Tuesday, October 11th from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. And they said the program schedule will be Trip to Israel by Dr. Warren Langford. Under Chamber of Commerce, International Rice Festival Queens Ball will be October 8th. October 13th, they're doing something about guiding you through Google My Business. And of course, the Rice Festival, the 20th through the 22nd. Under the tourism for the city, Library on Mill Street will be Monday, October 31st, 5 to 7 at the Rice Festival building. Costume contest, music, prizes, games, and activities. She's also working on a Veterans Day for November 12th, which is a Saturday. It'll be 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. There'll be a parade downtown Main Street with music at the Enterprise Center afterward. And then she said she's working on some banners for the interstate that'll say International Rice Festival. They'll be from all the way to the interstate, these little banners. The only other thing I had was I called register of voters today. They said to be sure to early vote October 25th through November 1st. Their office will be open 8:30 to 6 p.m. and they're closed on this Sunday. And of course, election is November 8th. And under action items, to authorize a resolution of the mayor and board of aldermen of the city of Crowley, Gated Parish, Louisiana, to submit an agreement associated with the city of Crowley Pavilion. And also,
Second.
Again.
I guess we'll start with the questions.
Yeah, well,
All right, Ms. Moore.
what is, and where is this pavilion?
That's fine. We have a couple of different options.
Okay, what are the options? What are your options?
One of the options is the railway company has the property over between Avenue G and Avenue H. That's one of the options. The other option is to be able to purchase a building and to be able to put the people who are in the Enterprise building in that building, so that way they'll have a home, and be able to try to do something with the Enterprise Center, possibly put it there. So that's the only two options that we have.
Okay. Well, I can understand that, but I just asked the question, where have you heard about getting them out of Enterprise Center and tearing it down? All of a sudden, it's South Orange right now. I can understand that. Let me make it clear, something clear over here, man. Now I see why they say you Stephen A. Well, I see what the hell going on here. Let me tell you something, man. We had a problem with the budget for last minute, quote unquote, annex. Why wasn't this told? And another thing, why do we get the agenda hours before the meeting? Can someone explain that to me? I think there's a law that says we have to have the actual agenda as well as our legal news or what have you. I forgot how many, what is it, 3 days before, 2 days?
24 hours.
24 hours. Well, I know we didn't get up in the 24 hours, at least if y'all did, maybe mine's bound to be. But even to that point, it doesn't leave us time to talk amongst ourselves if it takes that. It doesn't leave time for us to find out how to get to that, but yet we get here, there's a vote going on, okay? Now, I think this should be a discussion item. This shouldn't be no damn action item.
Well, this was, Mr. Martin, this is what from last month. That's the thing I think.
Yes.
And you couldn't tell us nothing from last month.
Well,
Again, this is, I'm sorry.
okay, go ahead.
Again, this is not to build a pavilion. This is a CEA to move forward, to be able to get a grant, to get preliminary figures, preliminary plans, a number of things, which is gonna take a long time. So, we're not building anything right now. This is $100,000 that, again, Representative John Stefanski got for us to be able to move this $100,000 of the $1.6 million into P2, so that way we can move forward with that.
Okay.
Right now, there's no grant for $1.5 million.
Okay, I understand that. All right.
This is all it is
Okay,
him.
all right. All right.
I just want to bring back the committee so we have a chance to ask any
Okay,
questions about it.
okay, if I may. We got money in the general fund. I've been talking about the pavilion way before you got up there. Matter of fact, since Rain built theirs. Okay? We use the general fund, quote unquote, for specific purposes. So, you know, I've learned that. If it's not germane to certain people's interests, we don't mention the general fund. Okay? You say it costs well, the police jury said we're on $250,000 right now. They trying to do something in more than one, which is Juro, Walter Andrews District. And that, the two places that you, well, I'm thinking, one of them for sure, the Enterprise Center, is in this district. Okay? Have you spoken to Walter about maybe taking that $250,000 and say, okay, that's a start, and we got to put the foundation or buy a building to house, quote unquote, the assist agency, and other people in there. I don't know how many people are in the Enterprise Center. I'll leave that up to Byron as his committee. But, I mean, you keep talking about grants. Had you, and I'm going to say it like this, listen to our county over here, we would have a grant writer in-house years ago.
Not a grant.
Well, wait.
Not a grant. It's capital outlay.
What do you think capital outlay is, man? What do you think capital outlay is? It's a damn grant. Okay? Well, I mean, this man is solving my intelligence. Okay? When you get something, I'm in Baton Rouge, man, let me tell you something here. Capital outlay is a grant that's handed down by the state, whether it's federal, local, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's a grant. You get it for specific needs. So, I don't know, well, I know where you went to school, but anyway, listen, we keep kicking the can down the road while everybody else got, you know, they got footballs now. They ain't kicking no can. They're kicking real footballs. Had we had that pavilion when I first brought it up, we could have had all type of concerts. We could have had, I mean, you go to Rain, I mean, just Google Rain and see what happens under that pavilion. They got people, this past weekend, and I'm going to say it, and I'm not being exaggerated. If you would have passed through Rain, you couldn't see 1 foot of ground because of all the campers and everything they had out there, the people using that pavilion. Okay? They not inside unless, you know, they want to be, but they outside. How many times we had events over here during the Rice Festival where rain came down and everything is canceled? Okay? If you're going to build a pavilion, build it big enough where we can put the vendors that are downtown underneath the pavilion. So, and I'm going to ask this question and I will concede to you. Is it your hope, and I'm going to say hope, because it's my hope as well, that the area that we call Enterprise Center, with the knocking down of the incubator, which that's what it was called when it first produced. To cover that whole area with a pavilion? Okay. 120 by 200. That's not, but it's big enough, I imagine. Okay. Let's get back to the tenants in the building. How many of y'all been in the building lately? Now, what you pay I'm sorry, I'll take that back. I'm no longer associated with the assistants. But the rent that the state mandates, and we're not giving the minimum, we're giving the max. When I say we, because all taxpayers pay for it. What you say in that building, from what you see? You got mixed match, channel, but you go on the other side, you got nice carpet. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Tile, 12 different colors. Okay? You got the roof that's leaking.
Not very much.
Okay.
Did you have questions?
Well, the question is, why didn't we put the people in place a long time ago?
I think we've been trying to work on that. We've been talking about it the last couple of years.
Oh, Don, I'm sorry. I'm at my council meeting. I call you. I'm sorry, man.
Okay. I think you had something first.
Yes, sir.
I'll get
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to make it known very well that there was another plan as well, and that was to be able to sell brick pavers, and the amount of pavers would be, excuse me, let me back up here. We're gonna try to go to every bank in Crowley to allow people that personal bank, where they can go to their personal bank and purchase a paper, and have their name engraved on it. And for the quantity of engraved papers that it would take would actually pay for this. And that was another plan that was coming in the makings as well. And of course, this particular grant that we're trying to apply for, capital outlay, and if it came 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road, at least this particular project has been paid for by the citizens of Crowley, or anybody who wanted to purchase those papers. But I will make it known here right now, I am not just gonna take and put those people out on the street that are in that building. I wanna make sure that they got a place to go to, because we are the city of Crowley, in Acadia Parish, we are the hub, and we need those services in the city of Crowley and in Acadia Parish. So Lafayette has it, Opelousas has it, Haverhill has it. We need to make sure that they do have a place.
If the fire department is finished with that building that they've been renting for 4 or 5 years, could you maybe talk to them and see?
It's very possible. I want to let Mr. Mark know that that was a great idea about getting Mr. Walter Andrews involved. And if they wanted to donate or whatever he was going to do with those funds, if he wanted to help purchase a building,
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Let's do it.
Well, let's Kim get one first.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a comment and a question. I just said the first I heard about the brick pavers, and you have 9 of us here, Mr. Mayor, it would have been helpful if we would have been told about this sooner, and you have 9 extra ideas, that could have gone around. And then my question is, who determined the 1.6 million? Who determined how much the 1.6 million?
that was an estimate of the square foot. We gathered that information, the Rain Pavilion. We tried to gather that at that point 2 years ago. If you'll look back in the report in 2020, it was estimated at 1.3, so we took an inflation rate and added that inflation rate into that and came up to 1.6. So again, these are all preliminary figures.
Right, I understand, but I just wanted to know who was involved in getting
Yes,
that number.
well, there's people involved that do know and that are familiar with those types of buildings.
Who is, so Mr. Mayor was
Yes,
involved with
Ms.
that?
Hayes involved in it, and also the people who built the Rain Pavilion.
And you're talking about the Rain Pavilion that's closer to downtown, right?
No, ma'am.
Oh, so the one by the interstate?
Yes.
Okay.
And this one would be a little bit bigger than that. So,
Okay, thank you.
So this is the first time we get to look at this stuff. I have a few questions about it, but as a downtown property day, we had the streetscape program going on, and it ended at Second Street, and it was never extended all the way, but in that plan, there was also a pavilion in the park. And I don't know if we could revisit those plans again and maybe rejuvenate the streetscape project again, but I think that would be something that should be considered. And also, looking at this thing, it looks like we have a $409,000 match that the city will have to put up. And it says that this pavilion, it says, will be located on city-owned property located at the intersection of E, Front Street, North Avenue, and North Avenue G. I wasn't aware that the city-owned property right there, for one thing. And also, the newspaper article that I read the other day from Representative Stefanski was saying that the funds are P5, which is the lowest you can go, and he said that he hoped that the council would move on this by June of next year. So I don't know that we have to do anything right away, according to Mr. Stefanski's article in the newspaper. But that being said, it may be something that we would want to wait on and let the next council, because the council is definitely going to be different than it is now, decide on something of this magnitude. But that's just my thought.
Well, before you get to you, man, I guess my question would be then, if it says it's gonna be here, could this be changed?
Yes, it all can be changed. And also, I want to clarify with Mr. Krager was just saying, I don't want people to be confused by this. What Mr. Stefanski is speaking of is that, yes, that magnitude of that $1.6 million, but 100,000 of that was taken and brought in from P5. And Mr. Krager is correct, it takes a long time, but 100,000 of that was moved into P2, and it was signed by the governor, and it's for us to take. And that's what he's trying to help us with, and that's, again, to be utilized in all of these preliminaries. How much is it going to cost? Get some plans going, so forth and so on, just to make it efficient. Now, as nobody said that you have to take and utilize, you have to accept that, but that's a long time down the road with that grant. That's why we were also offering those papers to be sold and to allow people to be able to purchase the paper and put it wherever they so choose, with a map located at each bank. And this is a very good opportunity for the citizens, for the community to be involved.
So, we're gonna knock out the papers that's already downtown and put those instead?
No, the papers would go in the sidewalks along the side of where the pavilion is being built.
Oh, I see.
And then come in where the gate would be, and then go into the pavilion area. It would be a very wide sidewalk. And I do have a set of preliminary plans in my office, but it's preliminary. It's just preliminary. This is all just what we're asking, and the $100,000 is all we're asking for right now. Not the 1.5 million, so forth and so on. This is the beginning stages of it, and it's going to take a long time.
My other thing was, on the first page, it says funding summary.
Yes, sir, that's the $100,000.
Okay.
And there is $33,000 that you'll see added to that.
Yeah.
That's the 25% match that you have to have.
That'd be a third.
Sir?
That'd be a third.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that was a question too. So we do own that piece that's on by G?
The city does own a small piece of property, but the property that we are referring to be able to put that on is one of the options. That could be sold to the city of Crowley at that particular area, which is located, it's a whole block that's located between Avenue G, Avenue H, First, and Front.
A double L?
Yes, that is correct. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we might be a little late on that, but that's okay. I've already met with a couple of people from the Rice House Association, maybe purchasing that property, and we'll see, we'll move forward, we'll have some more meetings.
Okay.
But all we see is, again, is just to move forward.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just want to express that I greatly appreciate the effort that you and Representative Stefanski made to move this project forward. But what I'm hearing is that a lot of this preliminary planning is kind of in the works beyond the council. And I certainly want to be involved can decide the location of this facility, the design of the building, and certainly to have knowledge of the total cost. And not that the city will have to expend, any projections that are made, the operation of the facility, how that's going to be funded, any revenue sources. So in the resolution, it indicates that for the planning and construction work, and the word construction work bothers me because I don't want to give away our ability to have some input by saying, go ahead and do the whole project without council approval.
All this is a formality that we have to get back to this particular, let me see. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Do you have a copy of the cooperative endeavor agreement?
That's what we're moving forward to.
Well, so we don't have that prepared yet.
It's getting prepared, but we have to vote on this tonight in order to have the cooperative endeavor agreement fulfilled.
Well, the cooperative endeavor agreement, the actual content of the wording, so we don't have that here tonight.
That's what this resolution's for.
I agree, but because to allow you to enter into the cooperative endeavor agreement, I want to see the agreement.
Okay.
So do you want to change the wording on it?
You have to change the rules.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to change the wording?
Well, I just want to make sure that, that we have some input in.
No, I agree.
this way.
You absolutely will. You absolutely will, but this is just beginning to it's just an application.
Oh, I understand there, but it says in construction work, so it implies that, everything is kind of in the works. And I'd like to see the council be involved in, again, the location and the design and other matters before we move forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. And, is there a condition on the 100,000, like if we don't use it for a particular item? So if we do accept the 100,000 and we get a match, we're obligated to use it for that. And so.
That meaning the preliminary plans, specifications and so forth, not construction,
Well, you got to.
Because we had to fill, when we filled in the application, they sent us an email back asking us what, or we're gonna use this money. That's what you have to use that money for.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's not what it's for. It just seems like a lot of money just for some plans, specifications.
A lot that goes into it.
I'm sure. It just seems like a lot of money. Mr. Mark, did you have something?
Yes. Listen, because I've been blessed with the fact of knowing people in certain places. Sarah Taylor happened to be the governor's, one of his assistant chiefs of staff. And I know if I had known about this right here to move this thing along, I would have got with John Stefanski and said, buddy, I'll be up there, meet me over here, and we're going to talk to the governor himself. Okay? But I ain't representing nothing that I don't know a damn thing about. You got in this, what is the MOU, whatever you have over there, you got construction in it. And I'm asking my colleague Brad, that is one of your concerns, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I
Anytime you
do
do,
part of the planning was.
but how much, well, when you say construction, that means that somebody has already been contacted. That's just my opinion, okay, what I look at. And this has been predetermined where they're going by him picking up 2 sites. Well, I'm one person, I know a whole bunch of sites in the city that I would like to have had brought up, okay? But at the end of the day, just to give you a general idea, the city owns a big tract right behind Ross Head Start. It's just sitting there. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all seen it or not. And that's a gigantic tract of land. You understand what I'm saying? We got property all over this, and that's in my district, Bottom's district, and I ain't do a damn thing about it. Okay? You don't come in my district telling me what you want to break. I represent the damn people. Okay? And not to say damn people, I mean I represent the people. At least you can do is pick up the phone, because anytime you need me for something else, what you doing? Where you at? Listen, man. And somebody made a statement then I agree with it. They say, man, you may have been signing a lot of resolutions and they only got a couple of months left in this election. I said, you know what? That ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay? I happen to be in the field of the resolution. Wasn't told about it, but I got the word on it. It's my district once again. Okay? Listen, man, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I don't know if Kim wants to, no, I'm gonna leave out of this, but things that's about to come to this city, it's gonna blow everybody's mind. All you people that's running for office, get ready, because it's coming. Get ready, okay? The 3 people that I brought here from Baton Rouge, okay, yeah. Things about to happen, and heads gonna roll. Okay, excuse the language, and the ass is going to be sitting hard. Okay? All right, wait, let me finish. This is committed. You ain't got nothing to do with this. I don't like the idea of you telling me something going on in my district when you feel like it's acceptable for you to let us know. Did you know about that, Robert? Did anybody know about this beginning? Except when we got here saying, I need y'all to, okay, to get $100,000 for preliminary. Man, anybody know damn mind? We do this every day.
Martin.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know, this enough is enough of this, man.
Well, technically, it's gonna be in Bryce district.
How's it gonna be in Bryce? If it's on,
If it's
hold
on
on, but let me correct you now. If it's at that enterprise center, it's in my damn district.
No, that's not where it's proposed. It's
Well, he just said that. Jesus Christ, didn't he just say he's looking for a place for to get this agency out of there? Was I the only one that heard that? Did he not say it? I don't want to just put them out. Did he just not say it? Ladies and gentlemen that's listening, now I'm going to be another damn Stephen A. Your mouth puts your butt in trouble when you say the wrong things and you turn out to be a damn lie. Okay, now, it's in my district. I should have been knowing that this was just to ask the question. Okay, I'm finished with that. Like, we don't matter? Come on, man.
Let's move forward, Mr. Reggie, please.
Enough of this, man.
All right, Mr.
My signature ain't on nothing now. I don't know
One
what
more comment is that I would like to see the streetscape project maybe come back if it's feasible. We should be looking into that also along with this pavilion, I think. And if we could do that in conjunction with the pavilion, I think that would be a huge plus to the city, because look at the downtown now, the streetscape that was already done, what it has brought to our city. I think that if we completed that project that Mrs. Delahousie started way back then, I don't know why it got sidetracked and why it didn't get completed, but I think it would be great if we could finish it off to the railroad track like it was originally designed to do. So that would be something that I would ask the mayor to possibly look into also. Thank you.
With all due respect, you got a council person right here that was here when it happened.
Go ahead with the question. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any discussion items I do not have, I will go ahead and recess.
Thank you. Next is Revenue and Finance. Well,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's not my district. Come on.
All present except for Mr. Primo. Therefore, we do have a quorum. Under action items, to request and approve the appropriation of $598,000 from the infrastructure reserve account to the Recreation Department for construction of a new restrooms at Miller Stadium and Hinchkins Park. Also to remodel existing restrooms at Hinchkins Park for umpire changing rooms and to air condition existing rooms at Bronco concession stands. And I so move. Do I have a second? Mr. Mayor, with no second, the action fails. There's no other discussion to come before the committee. Committee then recess.
thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, and I'm talking to everybody because I don't know where this falls at. I just read it and it sounds like it's public safety. Is there any way?
Committee recess.
Your committee ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What are you talking about? This is committee meeting. If we want to reopen a committee, we've got the right to open up a committee. Stupid ass. But you and me, we still got our date. Remember that. No, I just want to let them know. We gonna dance. Yeah. We gonna dance, but it's gonna be in your yard. So have good music. Yeah. Yeah.